It is now 6:30, and I call our meeting to order. Do we have any additions or deletions?
Yeah, we have the deleting the fireworks
Okay, so fireworks.
for under Wallingford Day and the executive session.
Okay. So the executive session is deleted and the fireworks, which is right there. Okay. So we need to approve and review the Selectboard Minutes from April 7th, 2025. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second that.
Okay. Please look them over for any discussion. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
And none opposed. On to pay orders.
We pay orders.
You have the addition, Kathy, first.
Oh, yes, so we do have an addition of $250, which brings our new total to $24,995.44.
The 250s for a bingo machine.
It's for a bingo machine.
Wallingford Day.
Yeah, Wallingford Day. So do we have a second? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
The motion to approve the orders, is that what we have?
We have a motion to.
Motion to accept.
No, we have a motion to accept the pay orders. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
I got a discussion.
Sure.
How come we have to pay the state for 4 marriage licenses?
They want their money.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's,
So we only get $15 out of it.
and they get the rest of the administration?
Yeah, well, it's for the health, you know, they go up to the health department
Uh-huh,
for their residents.
okay.
Yep.
Not hearing any further discussion. All those in favor of approving the pay orders?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Road Commissioner report.
Well, roads are drying out pretty well. They've been doing some weed whacking on the Hartsboro down that way. They brought the machine back. Not sure what they're actually doing this week. Charlie's on vacation. But they're gonna start road grading. They did a few roads. They filled a bunch of potholes. Did a bunch of things. They're actually, they're gonna pull the tank off the backhoe, fuel tank rotted through.
Huh.
And they're gonna have, the gentleman over on 103, the welding shop that's doing the
Or with the vote.
Right.
boy in the boot is gonna build us a tank.
Okay.
Because Cat wanted, I think, $6,600 for a little fuel tank.
Oh, boy.
And a used one was like 3,500 or 3,800. And you're gonna be in the same boat, it's gonna probably be rusted in the same spots. So,
Did
I
he
don't know
give a
what-
price?
He was getting a price.
Okay.
to build
Okay.
it. So. They were, I'm sure, gonna be cheaper than
I think so.
doing original OEM stuff.
This is a
so.
gas tank?
Yeah, fuel tank, in the backhoe, rotted through, corner of it. Salt, got it.
Yeah. Gotta empty it before you weld it.
Yeah, fill it with water. I don't know if they wanna do this now, the sand shed, or is that a later thing?
You could do it now.
I went down and did some measurements on the sand shed. With the sand and the salt shed together, there's about 5,100 square feet. Oh. That would be basically a dead even, you know, if we replaced it with the same amount of footage, I don't know what the state gives you for a leeway, 5% or something, so you know, your building might be a little
Yeah.
different in size, but, I think we originally were talking 10,000 square feet, it's not anywhere, it's
No,
Okay.
no,
not anywhere.
We were talking about 60 by 100, that was the latest, I think, should be
Yeah, it was-
6,000.
This one is, the actual building is like 56 by 82 or 81, doing roof lines.
Roof line.
Then the salt shed is another 12 by, I think 18 or 20,
yeah.
something like that. And so you have just around 5,000 square feet of actual storage in the roof line. So I presume that's what the state is looking for permitting reason, is the roof line, you know, runoff. I don't know if there's anything else they want on that. The building could be set back further.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't need to be brought up front, you know, time you add in a little bit of salt shed back there, another 10 feet or 12 feet on the end of it would cover the difference. I don't think you'd have to move it ahead at all.
Okay.
So it'd be basically in the same exact footprint that's there, except you're gonna swing the salt shed behind the sand shed. There'd be basically no difference.
So, are we thinking this salt shed's gonna be a separate building now?
No, it's gonna be part of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
And you're gonna have an entrance for it,
In the front, probably it'll come in from the front.
come in from the front.
Yep.
So where's the salt gonna be?
It'll be in a bay off to the one side of it, one left or right side of it.
Okay.
Just put some blocks in
In the
it,
front.
separate it, just so
In
you
the
have.
front, then, so you can.
Yeah,
get-
in the front, so you can
Okay.
interload.
That sounds like a good.
You know, instead of trying to put build another door,
Thank
put
you.
all the stuff in the back, you'll have just one setup. One main door to go in, sand will go along
Yeah.
one side, and the salt can go down, and you'll just separate it with a bay of blocks.
Yeah, yeah.
The width of a, you know, dump truck load or whatever.
and we're talking about just ground level now, right? I mean,
Yes,
that's the change.
I did call on it, and I can go ground level as long as I put, so many square inches of drainage holes in the concrete walls, so if the water gets in there, it can drain back out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Which I would presume you'd wanna do anyways.
Yes.
But they have a spec to how many square
yeah, I
inches
saw that, yeah.
of,
Good.
hole you have to
That's,
put in.
that's huge.
Yeah, you don't have that huge buildings, huge
Yeah.
concrete wall and the berm sticking up. Don't know where it stands on solar panels or anything like that. It's just, that's all I can tell you on the part of the sand shed.
Yeah. Was, do you know anything about, like, this hydraulic soil analysis that Kyle said would be needed if we increase the footprint at all?
Yeah, it's probably because of the water runoff on the roof.
Okay.
That's what I'm guessing, that's why it probably should stay, you know, within their percentage of leeway,
Yeah,
I think.
right, right.
I think you're gonna get into a lot of extra, engineering possibly, and, you know, money spent on a building that's, you know, you're not gonna gain a whole lot more. If you go a little higher with the walls, you can put more material in it and still keep your same floor print.
Yeah, yeah.
The Morton building gives you another third. You can
Yeah.
stack at least a third more that, because you don't have the trusses.
Yeah, cause you don't have a flat,
There's-
it's an arch ceiling.
It's cavernous.
Yeah, it's an arch ceiling. Yeah, and if you go with 20-foot walls on top of what you've got, and then it rafters up from there, you've got room enough so you don't get your loader into the,
I saw one over Mount Holly, I couldn't believe it. I said, this is what we need, you know?
what was the Morton building?
Yeah.
You priced one?
Huh?
You've priced one?
Yeah. Yeah, 390, about.
Yeah. Here.
Yep.
So are we ready then to go with an RF, like, do we have enough information to actually solicit, like, do an RFP at this point?
I think we need to double check with,
With the state on,
have you decided on the size of
I don't
the
think.
new one?
I don't think you can get over the floor print. I think,
Okay.
well, we got roughly 5,100 square feet there, I think we've gotta stay with that.
Yeah, I mean, if we have to, then we could do like, you know, if we did a 50 by 100 instead, we were talking about 60 by 100, but if we
Yeah.
did 50 by 100, that would be,
Yeah, give you 5,000 square feet roughly.
Yes.
I mean, that's it. I know that you looked at the Act 250 stuff. It looks like we don't need to worry about that. And then the other thing was Kyle saying that if we exceeded the footprint, we're gonna need a hydraulic soil analysis.
For water runoff.
Right. So,
Seems like we're staying in the
and-
footprint.
and it sounded like that was gonna be like an expensive thing to get
Yeah, I think
done.
so.
Yes,
Because then they're gonna make you put in groundwater drains, to run into the groundwater system, you know, to connect into the drains that run down there now. for the
Yeah.
creeks on Railroad Street and stuff. Yeah, you'd have to connect into all the drains.
Right, right. So, I mean,
If we're doing the same length and width,
yes.
Yeah,
you just need to
same
give,
square footage.
same square footage,
give
yeah.
Mark Tessier the height of the walls and,
So if you do that,
Yeah.
Bill, if you can give that information to Mark.
Yeah, I will.
And so what height, because I know there were some concerns that people might, because it's gonna be a little higher, will
It's
people
it's
object?
20-foot walls,
Yeah,
and then it'll go up from there to the roof line peak. I don't know what they're, 512, 412 pitch, I'm not sure what it would be.
yeah. Okay, so it's probably gonna be a little higher than it is now.
Yeah, that one there, I think, is only 16 feet maybe,
Alright.
total.
So this will be taller.
I think it'll be 24 to 28 minimum.
Okay. Okay, so that'll make the roof line different.
And, well, no, if the sides are higher, the roof line can stay the same
Okay.
pitch, but the roof is higher, sidewalls are higher, so the roof is higher, gives you more volume to go up
Okay.
in the same area, it gives you more volume.
Okay.
So, yeah, do you think people in the town would object to it being that much higher?
It's not gonna be any higher than the shed that's there. The garage itself.
Oh, the garage,
The
yeah,
garage will still
okay.
be higher, I think.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
That garage has got a really high peak.
Good point of reference. So I don't know if there's any more checking we need to do before we just go ahead and have Mark do the RFP?
I don't know. I've been out of the loop for 2 weeks.
the only
Yeah.
question I would have is if we take down the salt shed,
Yes.
move it here to the
Yeah.
sand shed, even if it's the same
Footprint.
square
Incorporated in
footage,
the
is it
square
okay to move it over without triggering anything?
Hmm.
I don't think it will, but
Yeah, I don't think it would,
I don't think so.
What
So
we're
we-
probably looking for is roof drainage area.
yeah, I mean, so you probably,
You're gonna make the same area.
is that a question for Kyle then? Is that,
I could just run that one by him
Maybe
too.
run that by Kyle.
And then, but that shouldn't stop Mark from,
Right, to
Proceeding with
start
the
to
RFP.
put something
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
okay, good.
that's good?
How about the speed limit signs?
I was just about to ask him.
Okay, they got, Sandy mentioned them to me today. Parker Road and
Nash, Nash.
Nash Drive. Now, what are you looking to put them down to 24 miles an hour?
No,
25,
just
I mean?
putting up signs.
23, I think.
No,
Yeah.
24 is good.
Where are you?
No, just not changing the speeds, just putting up speed signs.
Right.
What do you mean by speed signs?
Speed limit signs.
There's up there, aren't they?
Well, that's the question. I asked Charlie.
I
He
think
wasn't
all
sure.
roads are automatically posted for 35 miles.
I don't know if this
an hour.
speed is up though. I don't know if this actual sign is up. It's missing.
Well, I think it's by law in the town that they're all 35 miles.
Yeah.
You could put up a sign that said 35 miles an hour, yeah.
No, we're not asking to change the speed or anything.
Okay.
Just asking for the signs. Maybe it's
Yeah.
been
Just-
taken
yeah,
down or
If we've got them, we
stolen.
can put them up.
Yeah.
I have no issue with that at all.
Excuse
So
me,
it would
are
be
you
35,
putting
not
up a
25.
sign that says 35 or 25?
25.
25?
Yeah. They're both-
Isn't the bylaw in town 35?
Yeah, if it's
No,
a,
those two roads are, in our ordinance, are 25 miles per hour.
they
Oh, they
are.
are, okay.
It would be life-threatening to go 35 miles an hour on Parker Road.
Well, the thing is, if it's posted and it's bylaw for 35, unless you do a survey,
Right.
state
Right.
survey on it, you can't change the speed limit.
Traffic
No, we're not
study.
changing it.
If-
It's
No,
already
if it's 25, yeah, put them up 25.
Okay.
I'm all for that.
Okay.
I didn't realize that they had certain streets in town that were posted 25.
Me either.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
So are we good with having the road crew installed?
I think normally, I'm picturing Parker Road, Dawson Hill Road, similar roads. I wouldn't put a street sign, a speed sign on them. You'd think that it would regulate
Take care of
itself. But I was recently on Parker Road, not wearing a select board hat, just picking up something from a friend. And I ended up being picketed and besieged by neighbors up and down that road. It's just one individual who flies there along both directions. He lives at the end. So I think morale-wise, if they saw a sign, they'd feel like they accomplished something, and maybe it could have some effect.
Well, the other thing is, there's no reason you can't tell the sheriff go sit up.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true. We do have that
Just at least
authority.
do a drive-by now and then, so he knows he's in
What?
the area.
We have that authority.
Yeah.
You know, if he drives by back and forth, he might see him in there and he might start slowing down to him.
Yeah.
You know, he sat down on Route 7 yesterday morning, or about noontime, he was sitting down here on Route 7 doing radar in the middle of the day, on a Sunday, Easter Sunday. Sorry.
It's a pretty wild holiday.
Yeah, it's a tough one. The other thing that Sandy brought up to me was a culvert on the
Yeah.
end of
Cook Drive.
Cook Drive. I want to say Frank Bruce Drive. Sorry. If it needs a culvert, we'll replace it. We have culverts. It's not an issue.
Okay.
I don't know if there's been an issue with it, but if it needs it, we'll replace it.
And Steve knows about this?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll talk to him. He wasn't in there today.
Okay.
I was there.
Thank you, Phil. I'll write down that you're going to talk to him.
Yeah, I
Get
will.
that set up.
Yeah,
Excellent. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Guys, one other question with regard to roads. A couple of weeks ago, Phil, you mentioned about the trucks and like how old they are and like sort of past their recommended life. I don't think we took any action on that. Do we,
Nope,
and you said it's like a 2-year lead time to
at
get.
least,
Yes.
Yeah,
at
so
least.
do we need to start setting aside some money for that or,
My recommendation was 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, I think it's 3 now, to set 100,000 aside a year for a slush fund for trucks and equipment. Then you wouldn't have to worry about the money, and then when you needed something, you had the money there. That didn't work. When we bought the 14 and the 16 Kenworth, we talked about 7-year maximum. Roll them over and get new ones coming in. Well, 14 is 11 years old, and that's still not home, that's still in the shop. There's gonna be massive bill with that.
Right.
It needs to be replaced.
Yes.
The 16, we're in the same boat with that, it's already 13 years old.
that sounds like something that, I don't know if
I
the,
This is
was gonna
something
say
that we can
30,
put
I
on
said
the
13,
agenda if you'd
that's
like.
not right.
yeah,
For a
yeah,
future
know.
meeting?
yeah, that would be great. I just think, I don't want to let that just drop. I mean,
Sounds-
The backhoe's the same thing, the backhoe is an 11.
Okay.
The
That's our
problem might be that, I agree with you, we should have a capital budget and maybe a subcommittee or a separate committee, a capital appropriations committee to make recommendations to us for regular replacement.
Town of Clarendon just sets aside 100,000 a year
Yeah, that sounds like a
for a budget
reasonable
to
amount.
replace equipment.
Okay.
But if we do that, doesn't that get into our budget cycle for next year and then it waits till March to be
I
approved?
think it has to be voted on.
Yeah.
Sinking fund, just like any other one.
So
But,
that you'll be 5 years out
Yeah.
from your 2-year recommendation.
Yeah, they'll have to, the next truck, they're gonna end up having to do a truck right off, or at least order one, but I need the select board to tell me that they're ready to buy a truck, and then I'll go get prices, because they're only good for 30 days. So it does me no good to go chase prices,
Yeah.
and then 6 months down the road, go through it and say, well,
What do you have to put down on the truck?
nothing. Towns, all they have to do is write a commitment,
There you go.
sign the commitment, set purchase agreement with them.
How much is it gonna cost?
It's the
You'll have a quarter of a
utilization
million.
based on
Huh?
budget.
250,000,
For one truck?
one truck.
I guess they're not getting any cheaper either.
No, and they won't.
No, that fear of raising a budget's now gonna cost us more money down the road.
I think we're 165 when we bought the other ones. roughly.
Okay. But we'll get this on our next agenda and have a
Yeah.
good discussion.
Yeah, let's,
Okay.
If you get a truck, if you got different prices on trucks, presented to the select board and you all picked one,
Yep.
does that lock in the price, even if
Yes.
it's 2 or 3 years down the line?
Yes.
So that's what
When we
should do.
bought the
That's what we
grader
should do.
from Cat, they lost $68,000 on that deal because they stuck with the price. That's how much it went up over the year and a half it took to get the grader,
Huh.
Okay,
so.
It's only gonna go up more.
Oh, yeah.
exactly. Alright. Okay. Any further discussion? Bill, thank you so much. Moving on to VTrans signal upgrade project.
Right.
So we had concerns about the 4-rod right-of-way.
Yes.
And that's been clarified. The VTrans, John Lemieux, has sent an email to the town sidewalk engineer, as well as the project manager, Stephanie Bork from RRPC. The right-of-way, clear-away certificate originally issued for the project featuring a 4-rod right-of-way will stand in addition. VTrans Michael LaCroix sent an enclosed email and revised map indicating School Street is a 4-road ROW. So the question is, would you like me to sign the maintenance
I move
agreement?
you sign it.
No, isn't it
Do we have
here
a-
for a 3-rod right away?
What's that?
I'm kind of left out on this, but
No,
I thought
this-
there was a 3-rod right away and they designed it for that.
No,
No.
this is 4-rod.
They've now
School
changed.
Street is
they've
4-rod.
now changed
It's
the-
always been 4-rod.
We have a revised map.
So it is, the sidewalks were designed for a 4-rod right away.
Right.
Yep. And VTrans
And-
recognizes this.
And 140 this way has always been 3-rod.
From Depot Street.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the revised map that they sent, you can see in green, this is School Street, they've actually,
Yep.
4-rod.
Good question.
So they're gonna end up moving the telephone poles too big a street.
So did we get a second on that motion?
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, we are moving on to honorable mentions. To Joy Kogut for a donation to the rec fund. Karen Smith, who helps each month in the town's food shop by purging the outdated food, shopping for and stocking our shelves. And Art Nemeth, who picks up town hall trash and recycling weekly on his own time. Thank you very much. Moving on to public comments. Do we have public here for comment?
So, yes and no. So we had
Okay.
some developments and some questions that came up on the solar project after the agenda was published. So I talked to Sandy about it. She said maybe we could cover it during public comments if that's okay.
Yes.
So, first of all, I guess taking back to the last meeting, there was a lot of discussion about the location. I know we had concerns about the positioning of it in the town garage site. In parallel, Jay was in discussions with the rescue squad about an easement, and he was able to secure that easement, and we were able to confirm that the CPG transfers into that easement. So we'll be pushing it off to the side.
Over on the lawn.
Yeah, so,
That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it runs about 3 feet to the north side of the town garage, and then a straight line all the way across. Okay, so the location of the array would still be roughly in the same location. Then, by chance, I got an email from one of the bidders who bid on the array last fall, just asking for an update where we were. I gave him an update, and he said he was going to be in the area last week. He was asking if he could come by and just refresh himself to prepare for the update to the bid. So I met with him last week. I just missed Steve. I was supposed to check with Steve and just talk with him too, but I just missed him. He's out. He said he's out this week now.
No, he wasn't there, out this morning.
Okay.
Charlie's on vacation.
Oh, okay, sorry. But anyway, so I met with him and a couple things come up. Initially, he was concerned about the propane and the oil tank, the location of it, how close it was. But he checked on that and emailed me back today that that's not an issue. So that was good news. The other thing was the wiring that runs from the array to the pole. So right now, the town garage meter is on the pole at the northwest corner of the garage. It's like 12 feet, 15 feet away. He was saying that he thinks that GMP will not allow them to tap into that meter on the pole. I think that the meter's now supposed to not be on the poles. So when it was put on, it was probably fine, but now he thinks they're probably going to ask us to pull it off of that pole and put it on a pedestal at the corner of the garage. That being the case, as it relates to the array, the preferable route would be to just, so from the array to the garage itself, that would be buried underground. But then rather than going around and trenching all the way over to the pole, because in the front of the garage, it's actually blacktop under there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we can't do that. So his suggestion was it'd be preferable to take it underground to the garage and then run it, basically the conduit on the outside of the garage building. So on the north side of the building and then over across the side where the road is, west side.
Northwest.
And yeah, and then come down and connect to that pedestal. So the one question I have for you is to confirm, because we decided we were not going to send the email out to all the bidders yet until we got a couple things ironed out. This is one question for you, is it okay to request that the conduit be run on the outside of the garage building?
Boy, that's a question for, I personally don't think there's an issue to that. You're talking just clamp 4-inch conduit or 3-inch, whatever.
He said it'd be like 1 inch. You're very going to see it, like an inch and a half or something.
Is the garage a historical building?
No.
Then I don't,
The only issue I see is they'd have to run it under the doorway in the back wall. There's a back door to that building on the north side.
Oh, yeah, actually, he was proposing like taking it up the side and just in case there's no chance of damaging it like when mowing or something crazy. So he's gonna run it up to like the level of the gable. So not all the way to the top, just take it up to like the roof line and run it straight across. There's already a seam there in the metal.
Yeah.
Run that across, then across the top on the side that the road's on, and then just come
so
down.
do you see
right
an
there.
issue with that?
I don't see an issue with it. I guess you'd have to ask electronics or maybe our insurance company if there's an issue there. I don't see any issue.
Yeah,
with
we run it.
It's all in conduit anyway.
Yes, conduit's always
What's it
running.
gonna
Sounds pretty standard, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other question was, I know back in the fall when we were looking at putting it on the sand shed, I asked you about some trees that were in the way and you gave me permission at that time to take those down. Now, of course, that's no longer an issue, but where the array is now, there are a few trees along the railroad tracks that he said it would be preferable if they came down. It's not a big impact on the generation, but there's 3 or 4 trees there that ideally we'd get better generation if we took them out. So it's another question. Just
Tree warden?
No problem,
Okay.
no problem. Kiss them goodbye.
they're pretty rough looking trees, but
Oh, yeah.
They're not in the 25-foot right away of the railroad, are they?
I don't know. They're probably within.
I'm sure they wouldn't care, but
Huh?
you can't touch anything in that 25-foot right of way.
Oh, the railroads.
Railroad's right of way. As long as you're out of, I'm
Yeah.
sure they don't care if you're
Only-
caught.
only if
As long
they
as you let
see
them
it.
know first.
I don't know. They seem like they're pretty close. I don't know 25 feet. I don't know, probably right around there.
I'm sure they won't care. That's a question that need to be asked
Yeah.
if they are.
Okay. So that's the one
They
thing.
pretty
we
much
need to
won't
check.
do anything you ask them, only what they wanna do, so best not to ask.
Well,
I'll measure them. I'll measure them.
okay, that's, I
Sure, that's not an
think,
issue either
I
way.
think that's prudent, yes.
Okay, that was it.
Okay,
Sure, any
thanks.
questions?
Great.
So, should we get a new set of bids, you think, once we get this information cleared up?
So Sandy and I have already drafted an email to go, because when, after the bids came in the fall, around the same time we were having the engineering assessments of the buildings, and then Sandy sent an email to all the bidders updating them that we're on hold, and thank you for your bids, we're on hold, we're evaluating the buildings and trying to plan how to go forward. Now we have an email drafted to go back to the bidders saying we decided we're going to a ground mount system, South Mason ground mount system. And basically, we're leveraging the exact same RFP as last year, just asking them to update their bids.
Right.
So that'll hopefully go pretty quickly. And I don't know, your next meeting is when?
May 5th.
So we'll see whether we can still get it in time for that, or either that one or the next one after that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, moving on. We are at quarterly financials. And we have them in our packet. Okay. And Julie, you're going to provide us with an overview?
I just want to mention today was tax day.
Yes.
And we collected all but about 114,000. So that is less than last year. Last year we had about 130,700 delinquent. So less this year, which is a good thing.
That's good.
And looking at the quarterly, I'll do a little more in-depth for the new members.
Sure.
The first one, under income, Green Mountain National Forest, they pay that lump sum during the fourth quarter. Highway State Aid, they gave us an extra, they paid us our quarterly payments early. They gave them to us like during the first and second quarter because of the flood of July 23. They paid all the towns early. They normally only pay them quarterly. Plus, they gave us an extra 20,000 to help towards the flood, so that's why you see it. It's over the almost 23,000, so that's a one-time thing. Ordinance, I'm just going to highlight anything that's under or over. The railroad taxes, we'll see that during the fourth quarter. Let's see. Zoning, those will pick up, the zoning permits now that we're in the spring. Records, restoration fees, that is, for every recording we get $15 for every page that we record in the land records. And then at the end of each quarter, $4 from each recording goes into that account. And that's what we use to restore our records, birth certificates, death records, the land records. So that amount offsets under town government operations on page 2. You'll see it under 5122. And this is a law that we have to spend it on restoration. So anything that, if we have any extra income, I just carry it over to the next year. I don't have to create a fund for that like we do the reserve funds. Copy fees, those are doing well. Penalty, that's doing very well. 1% interest, very well. Interest earned on bank accounts, we're way over, so I like that. Current property taxes, that is over because that includes your school tax and fire district tax. So if you take out that amount that you'll see on page 3, that's all at the bottom. You'll see what we pay out to Mill River for the education taxes, and Wallingford Fire District number 1 for fire protection taxes. That's what we have to pay out. And you'll see that amount on the pay order next month. I have 21 days to pay that out, so that'll be on the pay order for next month.
Okay.
Previous years carry forward. That's how we started. July 1st, we had a surplus. Delinquent property, we're already over, so we're going to do well on that. Grants, we're doing well. Miscellaneous, of the 133, 110 of that is for the loan proceeds when we refinance for the state of Vermont for the greater loan. 110 of that is in that account. And then almost 9,000 is in that from the VLCT for the boy. We got some insurance for that, so we will take that out before June 30th. FEMA, that's just reimbursements for the flood. Summer rec, that's done. Cell tower, that's going to catch up by the end of the year. Anything summer, Elfin Lake, that's all done. Donations. All of that is for the boy, except for $750, which was that donation that came in from Joy. Communications, that's for the newsletter, so that will be offset by their expenses. Wallingford Day, those are for the fireworks. Anything that's, if they have any surplus, it'll go in their reserve. We're going to establish the reserve fund this year. And then the last one is the Agency of Natural Resources. One of our residents sold off some land last year, so we get a little bit of income each year for the taxes we lost. That goes in that account, so. Then under expenses, nothing too glaring. Kathy, you still haven't spent your salary. I don't know if there's any plans for that.
Thank you.
You usually talk to Sandy about that.
I'll talk to you about what I might be able to spend
Okay.
that for.
Under reappraisal expenses, 5002F, that's for the reappraisal. So we have the money in a CD. So by June 30th, I'll take that out of the CD and offset those expenses. Nothing else is glaring under administration. Everything's pretty much on. On page 2, I'm not seeing anything that's out of line. The only thing under town government is the Wallingford Asset Fund. That's the ARPA money that the expenses we paid for this year, and that money's in a CD, so by the end of June, I'll take that money out and offset those. Appropriations, the only thing we haven't given out is the Nelson Tiff Scholarship. And then under highway, there's nothing, gravel's way under 82,000, I guess they're gonna.
They'll eat up most of that once they get started.
Yeah. The trucks have, all the truck repairs, that's eaten up some of it. And then under the grader, you can take out 110,000 out of that, because that's for the loan payment. Under public safety, that's on budget. And then under capital expense, the highway reserve fund. So we do have 78,500 in a CD for highway that we fund 20,000 a year. So we do have, at June 30th, we'll have almost 100,000.
So that could go towards your truck?
Yes.
Yeah.
100,000.
So that's where you're gonna, next year in the budget,
So
increase that.
Okay.
Yep.
So
So
that's,
we do have 100,000.
okay, and that's, it's a highway reserve fund, so
Yes.
is it pretty much designated for road crew type stuff?
Ice equipment.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the fund we ought to
Right.
budget into.
So if you find a truck,
Yeah.
you could order it now and nothing to pay for it, but you do have 100,000 already towards that.
All they gotta do is tell me they wanna buy it.
Okay.
And then
I wanna buy it.
under recreation, everything, there's nothing glaring. Summer rec is fine, Wallingford Day is fine. And net income as of March 31st, that was our checkbook balance, so. Anybody have any questions?
Doesn't seem, you have questions at this time? Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on, rec committee,
We're all in the hallway.
all in the hallway, okay.
David. Before I forget, my transporter of documents.
Okay.
So I was wondering, since there's some new board members, if we should introduce ourselves?
Oh, that'd be
Great
nice.
idea. Okay.
Hi, I'm Sandra Hochberg. I live in East Wallingford.
Shannon Pitlick, Chair of the Rec Committee.
Mark Noble?
I'm David Cornwell.
And you probably know Heather from Wallingford. All right, so we have a whole slew of things to talk about. So I wrote this memo that I think you've all received to try to
Yes.
give you some background so we don't take up your whole night. So a lot of things are just kind of like to update you and see if you have any questions, but the things that we need like a decision on or approval for, I tried to bold. So I guess we'll just go through our list. And then the one thing I didn't have on my list is the parade. So we'll touch on that as well. So Sandra was gonna start.
Okay, thank you. Just a few updates. Our spring workday is scheduled for this Saturday. Mark is working on the ball fields and will continue to work on them to get them ready for the spring season. Just a lot of trimming, raking. I would really like to tackle the fence line that is in the parking lot near the porta potty. It's quite overgrown there.
Yep, they have photos of it.
But I was wondering if we're able to trim it and rake it and kind of clean it up. Is there any way, where do we dump the debris? Is someone available to pick it up in a pickup truck or take it someplace? Because it's, I think we need help with that. If anyone has any.
Stuff that goes over the solid waste has to be bagged or something, doesn't it?
It doesn't have
Or
to
do
be
they take
bagged,
little
but
brush?
it has to be smaller. I don't know.
It would be best to just compost
few
it,
inches
just like
around,
vegetation.
Okay. Do we have?
Is there anywhere like where the town dumps like old stumps or anything?
We don't have one. I wish we did.
I do think some of that is Japanese knotweed though.
It is,
Which might
definitely.
requires bagging, I think, and put in the trash and like,
That's
I
true.
think. Not to throw a wrench in our own plans, but we don't want to spread that stuff.
No, we won't spread that. Not after all the work that's been done to
So
clean
you said
that up.
that's gonna be cut on the workday, on Saturday, or is it just in general?
I think just in general, honestly, I think it's going to be a big job and I'm not sure that we can get it done on the workday. I mean, I guess it depends how many people show up, but you can see from the pictures, it's quite overgrown. There's some like tree limbs that have fallen down. I can't put it in my Subaru.
The Japanese knotweed that's above ground won't spread. It doesn't spread by seeds, it spreads by rhizomes under the ground, so it's the roots. So it will come back.
Right.
Dig it out, basically, tarp over it, right? And then tarp over it.
The
let it
best
go.
method is to cover it for 5 years.
Yeah.
We tried digging up part of the project over on Waldo Lane. And if you leave even 1/4 of an inch of root under the ground, it's a new plant.
Yeah.
So it breaks up the roots when you dig down and try to bring them up. They're very crafty.
Yeah, so we'll either have to like put it in trash bags or burn it, is the only solution. I'm not bringing it to my property because the last thing I want is Japanese knotweed, so maybe we'll have to think about that more and look at it and see how much there is. But I think even if it's gonna grow back, just to like cut it back, because there's like trees
Well,
growing in
that's-
there
yeah.
now and it's gonna like ruin the fence. So some maintenance, even if we don't deal with the knotweed, because that's a bigger job than I think we can handle Saturday, but if we could like cut the bigger woody vegetation that's growing in the fence and at least cut back the knotweed. And maybe not relocate it anywhere, maybe leave it there to like compost. I don't know, we'll have to think about that.
And then the community breakfast, which we're very excited for, is going to be on Saturday, May 3rd. We have just some fun activities like sack races. Mark is going to have a community softball game. We're going to have pastries from Sweet Birch, basketball, possibly chess, learn to hula hoop. Just a variety of little activities for the morning. Hopefully people will stop in after they've dumped their trash at the transfer station before they pick up their bags for cleanup day. And we're also going to be officially showing off the mural that Macy Quinn painted on the side of the building.
And that's on May 3rd as well?
That's May 3rd, yes. We've been posting that on Front Porch Forum and with some flyers around town and word of mouth. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, and all those the community breakfast and the mural were paid for in that arts and community grant, so we're still working off that grant. We also plan to have 2 more outdoor movies that we, to finish off that grant.
Great.
Yeah, so Mark's gonna talk about the baseball.
So Mill River and Rutland County Little League plan to use the baseball fields this year. But going forward, we'd like to have some sort of calendar for all the fields and basketball courts or pickleball courts if somebody wants to reserve it. And Shannon's done a Google website that can link a calendar and have a place to have people submit requests to use the ball field for.
So is that operational now, that website? Is it will it send things to, if someone can request?
Yeah, so Mark had created an email for us.
Okay.
So, yeah, I haven't given it to anybody because I wanted to talk to you all before and see if that was an okay strategy for us to use to communicate. But yeah, it's a functioning webpage and there's a Wallingford rec.
Yeah, I saw the page,
Yeah.
and but right now, people can't actually request directly through the website, they would need to email.
We need to access it or whatever.
We would just add a form to the webpage. Right now, there's a link for feedback, so I created a
Could
form.
do a
Just
submit
simple
feedback,
form.
automatically goes to a website or an email that we monitor. And then 2 things, I have a free lawnmower, I'd like to keep it down at the park by the other shed, hopefully. No one really vandalizes it or anything like that, probably take it back in the winter time, but for the summertime, in case we want to use some extra mowing or drag things around. We're also wondering about putting up a batting cage down there, if we have to go through zoning or what kind of approvals, location.
What is a batting cage?
Basically it'd be 6 posts, about 10 feet by, say 50 feet long, hanging on cables.
So this is for batting practice so the foul balls don't hit somebody, right?
Basically, it gives you a consolidated place to get kids to be able to hit balls without us chasing 50 balls repetitively, so they don't have to watch them. It gives us a little more. I think they used to have one. I'm not
It's
sure.
an improvement over just the backstop you got there.
Yeah, well, not really a backstop, but basically, so you don't have to.
It comes around the sides more than the backstop does.
Yeah, it's a tunnel basically, so that you don't have to herd 10 kids around that field all these balls. That you can just have one-on-one.
But it doesn't replace the backstop, it's
No,
just
it
a
doesn't.
separate thing.
Be a separate.
It would just be for
Batting
batting practice.
Yeah.
Usually you have a pitching machine, don't you? You have a
Probably
pitching
would
machine.
get a lot of use.
It would get some use and it could come down last summer I was going to use the one at West Rutland at the park because you can literally pull right in, park next to it, jump out, use their batting cage, get in your car, circle back around by the bike park and you're gone. It was great. Theirs is really nice, has big telephone poles. And it's done basically a log cabin. They did it really
Is
nice.
this something you're gonna build or buy?
We'd build it. I already have the netting, so we'd have to figure out exactly, do we have railroad ties, ask around for some sort of donations, or get Rutland County Little League or Mill River to pay for 6x6 posts. It can be as simple as that.
How long?
Could be, I would say 4 feet buried and 10 feet tall, so 14 to 12, somewhere in there. I don't know exactly the dimensions, but somewhere in there.
One thing I was thinking, as I was down there the other day and I mentioned it to my family, we were wondering if we could put it along the tennis court, because there's already a long linear feature there. If it could go next to it, would that work?
That could work.
Because rather than building a whole new structure, then you'd have one side already there, and you could it's super accessible, for people to get to.
That
Yes, it would be.
Yeah.
Because we don't really know where we'd put it, whether that's a good idea.
Then we'd only need one side of post. We could use the tennis court.
There we
And then,
go.
Yeah, as long as we could dig down right there, that'd be fine. And that'd be easy, then you don't have to keep the grass down underneath it.
Yeah, it's already
gravelled
gravel.
and, okay. if it could go there, that'd be the easiest solution.
So the only reason I wanted to talk about it, I wasn't sure like from a permitting standpoint, because I know when the, like the skateboard ramp went in, you know, like things are in the floodplain are supposed to be like secured and whatever, and I don't know if a few posts, so I just wanted to run that by the town before we do anything down there.
Do we have any issue with that, do you think?
Be in the ground, it'd be permanent. It wouldn't be like it's gonna flood or wash away.
Basically, yeah, it'd be digging down 4 feet, pouring 2 bags of concrete per post if we did it somewhere other.
And then the net would be taken down, right? So that wouldn't like flood downstream or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Seems pretty innocuous,
Will
but.
we need any permitting?
Well, we can send Kyle an email and just see what he says.
Yeah,
Kyle Madish.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we'll look into that.
It's in the
Okay.
future, yeah.
But does everyone think that's a good idea? If we have the budget for it, we can,
What do we think?
I think we can find it from somewhere.
I think that would be a useful thing to have.
yeah, I think it'd be great. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
So I think I'm up next, yes, after wood chips so wood chips are being donated in June to spread underneath the play structure and around the benches and things where the concrete's kind of come up, meet code, something that, you know, we need to do yearly or bi-yearly to keep the playground safe. The big one though, if you guys saw, is again, it's a perennial issue.
Now, before we get on to the big one, and would you be putting together, would you do yourselves or front porch forum request for people to spread out the wood chips? I know in the past, we've gotten deliveries of wood chips and then they just sort of sat there. So just checking to make sure that you've got a mechanism for getting them all spread out.
We had wanted them for the workday, but they can't come until June, so I think we'll be looking for volunteers.
At least in our tenure, the three of us who are on the board, we've had one delivery brought during our tenure, and it was spread within a month or so.
Awesome.
I know that it was, I'm blanking on the guy's name, Ferguson. He had some students come down from Christ King School for community service hours and help with that. And also volunteers came and helped as well.
Yeah,
So it was
I remember that. There was like 15 of us there that day.
Yeah, it was a big turn. I got there at the tail end of it.
Yep.
But most people, it was done pretty quickly and efficiently,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
In the fall, the varsity sports were required to do volunteer hours. Do you know if spring sports does?
They do? I haven't heard anything.
In the fall, like.
Yeah, they did. I didn't know if they were required.
All the teams were
Seats in
supposed to
here,
do something.
down there.
Oh, interesting.
I was just saying that might be how you.
Yeah,
do
that could work too.
volunteers.
I mean, I think we can probably figure out something for sure. I mean, I think people want to get that spread and
Might
put
be-
down.
I don't know if it was Kim that kind of put that out or the principal, but
Yeah.
We can reach out to Nora, of course.
I was just
and make
thinking
that
get some.
Yeah, in June it'll be
community
summer.
hours.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah. The seniors will be looking for something to do.
sure. So, but yeah, we can get that spread out with relatively quickly, I'm sure. The other issue again is that we have sort of been around and around about trying to get water at the park. And we have tried to dig for lines. No one really knows how the broken faucet is supplied with water. We've tried to find that. We've tried to dig for it. We have dug for it. We've had no luck. I know there were some concerns raised about trying to dig down to the base of that and replace the existing fitting around possibly the foundation of the basketball court, although I don't know too much about that. So we thought perhaps a new angle to come at this would be to take a look at whether we could get a whole new piping put in, perhaps running from where the fire hydrant and existing water is under the road, and then maybe behind the backstop area. We have a faucet spigot system already purchased, so we were thinking perhaps we could sort of start from scratch, if you will, on that, instead of trying to chase down things that seems to be a failing proposition. So we know it would require that the road would have to be probably cut and then a new line be put underneath the road to get to that spot. But we wanted to see how you felt about the idea of moving forward with that. And I'll defer to Shannon to clarify our vision further, but we want to put that out there and see if that was something that maybe we could
Yeah, it
start
just
from
keeps
scratch
coming
on.
up, like Wallingford Day came to us and said like, will water be on by this summer? And we're like, you're gonna have to ask the select board because we've hit dead end after dead end despite putting a tremendous amount of time and effort into it. So then we were, strategizing one night and we thought, well, I mean, I'm not interested in putting any more time into like
Right.
chasing a line that, we don't know where it is.
Right.
It seems to just make sense to like just start over. It's a really short distance,
Right.
and I don't know
What
the
is
road,
the
but
what is the distance that we're looking at?
it would just be across the road. I mean, it would be
Which
the
is-
hydrant. I don't know, how wide is that road, Meadow Street?
16 feet, maybe?
So 16 feet.
Maybe 25 feet.
Yeah.
So it's from
We
16
could pour a
to
concrete pad and put the water spigot thing like right there on top of it.
Okay.
Are you gonna put a new corporation in it? Are you gonna tap a new one into the main line? Cause
We'd have to
I don't know where the shut off is, I've never seen
The shut off
that.
is at the hydrant. We had, the water district came down and turned that water on when I
Yeah.
was down there, when the road
Yes.
crew was down there
Yeah.
digging. So it's right on that hydrant.
Yes.
That's right across the road from the,
I can't believe they can't mark that line.
well, they did mark it, but that, it
Yes.
wasn't there.
Yeah, something's wrong.
They marked it and
So I give up.
Right.
I do a lot of digging and I've never had one that they marked, had rural water come in and mark that they didn't find.
It wasn't rural water, it was our water district.
Yeah, well, rural water has actually machines that clip onto each end. They'll clip onto the corporation where
Well,
you
we
turn
had
it
the
on.
water running and they had the beep 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 thing.
Yes.
I mean-
Never seen them.
Yeah, no, we had a guy in the hole with it beeping and the line was not there.
It's like the movie Holes.
It's somewhere, but I mean, we could dig the whole place.
So
the whole-
that's kind of
yeah.
what we were thinking, given that we haven't had any success with that route,
Yeah.
we would start from scratch. And start from that, probably wherever the valve is by that hydrant and try and run a new line.
So are there
Straight
any
over.
issues with doing this?
Well,
Rather than
it's
cutting off
fire
the-
district to start with, not us. You'd have to go through fire district
Right,
to do that. I see no issue with it.
but like digging up the road and
You dig up a road, if it's broke, you have to repair it, that's
Right.
all.
Okay.
Okay.
If you need water, you need water, it's one of those things.
So you're willing to work with us to get a patch in that small section of road?
Yeah, you'd
If
have
they
to-
put a
yeah.
line in?
Whoever does it, whoever digs it, they'll just have to dig it up and then let it settle down, and then they'll have to come back, dig out whatever the thickness of the tire is and replace the tire, patch it.
You got a vibrator in.
Yep, pack it down. Usually you let them set a month or so, 6 weeks, so they settle down, get some rain in them, and then you dig them back out to whatever the depth of the tire is and put it down in 2 layers. I see no issue with
so
that.
the contractor fixes the road?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree that Fire District 1 has to approve this, but I dread the thought that it might ping pong back and forth between the Select Board and Fire District 1, because it's gonna have some expense, and
Yeah.
Fire District 1 won't wanna take that on. So I think we'd have to look at how much of an expense it would be.
Right. Well, that's where we
Approve
would,
that and
we would just get estimates.
pay Fire
Okay.
District 1 for their, for the work,
Yeah.
for what we want done.
They're aware, I mean, they've been down there with me a number of times and they're aware of us wanting water and,
Right.
you know.
So Shannon, do you want to see about getting approval from Fire District 1 and then getting some estimates of what the cost of the project would be?
Yeah, I'm sure that, I mean, if we want water, we're a landowner, the town is a landowner, I'm sure that they would provide water. It's more a matter of like
Yes.
how much it would cost and
So-
who does what, because I don't.
What's the total distance of the dig from corporation where it turns on?
Can't be more than 30 feet if
Yeah.
the,
Across the road, you can
Yeah.
put it right there.
yeah,
Yeah. So
You're not
behind
talking
the backstop?
yeah.
I would say under 2 grand,
So we might find the line,
around 2 grand.
in which case we just use it. If we find the line, we'll just use it.
But the line is clear over by that cement building, because there's a hydrant out there.
What's cement building?
Isn't there a cement building in that parking lot, and then it goes to the tennis court, and then there's
Yeah.
a wet hydrant out there?
I don't know.
Oh, the cement building, it's not there. That's where we dug the hole, I'll send you an email, I'll show you the hole.
I've replaced that hydrant, so I know the water line's there.
Oh, I know it's there, but we can't dig it up and we can't find it
So-
where, because we wanted to move it, I'm sure you were here. for
Yeah,
this
into the
we wanted to
building.
move it into the building,
Yeah.
which is the best
We
solution.
couldn't, yeah.
But we dug a big,
Yeah.
the road crew, I was there with them and we dug a big old hole. There's
So,
no water.
I mean, the other alternative is, I'm not to even bring this up, but I mean, since we know water gets to the broken fitting, we have to dig down to the bottom of that and replace that whole fitting. But I know that there was some concerns raised because that's close to the,
It will collapse,
that it
it's
could
down there
damage the,
7 feet.
yeah, that it could damage the,
Damage court.
right, the basketball court. So,
We'd have to stay back from that.
So we should just take that out, honestly, like if we're not gonna use it, I kinda feel like we should just.
so I
It
mean,
should cut right off.
We should just take it out and remove
delete
that line and use the line, just run a whole new line on that, wherever it's hooked
Can't
up.
find that line. I've never seen one you can.
I'm surprised myself, but
you have access to the equipment, you can just go and dig for it if you have some downtime, you know, like, you know, got,
it's pretty rough.
got 6 hours, just, you know.
It's pretty rough, yeah.
I'll make a phone call to Rural Water. See if I can have them come down and mark it.
They did do that though, there was yellow paint on the ground and
Yeah,
everything.
they did it.
Yeah, but Rural Water has actual electronic stuff. I know the town has stuff and they do well with it, but this is actual stuff for doing this.
You mean sensing where the pipe is?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hook onto each end, you know, you get a spigot on both sides. You got a valve on one end and a frost-free faucet on the other end, so they can run
Well, we just wanna move the ball forward. Instead of sort of like, you know, going for that first down
Right.
10 times, you know, never quite getting there. So, I mean, if that's something you wanna do, that's fine, but if you, with your blessing, would like to move forward with investigating, you know, with the rural water district, what it would cost to put a new line in.
We could do both, right? I mean, just for this.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
It's always nice to have two options.
They're not mutually exclusive, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we could do both, if, yeah.
as long as it's not slowing anything
Same
down.
as dig safe?
No,
No.
DigSafe does electrical.
Oh, okay.
So, if that's something you wanna investigate,
Yeah, I'll
we'd be very grateful of
We'll
that.
look into that.
And we can investigate the other, yes?
Alright, we'll do that.
Sounds good.
Alright, is that good?
Yep,
Shannon, would it be okay if I
yeah.
get out here too?
People have things to do.
Thanks,
so.
folks, appreciate it, thank you.
So for Elfin Lake,
Yes.
the boat storage has been an issue for, I feel like, you know,
Yes.
the boats take up a lot of room and they're clunky, and so we've been, we had that rec facilities group that was meeting,
Yes.
which was a combination of the Conservation Commission, the rec committee, and the select board to try to like troubleshoot some issues over there that we were kind of all involved in. And I think some really great things came out of that. And one was that we were gonna try to downsize the boats
So,
and sell the paddle boats because they take up a ton of space, and with only one staff person down there, they can't move them by themselves, so they end up dragging them, and then the little propeller thing gets broken, and then we have to put, how much was it? I don't know, hundreds of dollars every year into repairing them, and
I don't think
they're just not worth the headache. I don't even think they get used much, so we proposed just like selling those for whatever we can get for them, and instead getting stand-up paddle boards, which I think people are much more interested in now, and then getting an aluminum outdoor storage rack, and there is a little flat area down there to the right of like the beach.
right.
And trying, at least at first, now that we have a camera system down there, to store a couple of boats down there, because I just think they'd be much more accessible and used more frequently if the staff didn't have to go and get them out of the garage and get them down to the beach.
Would they be like, you said the aluminum wrap, would they be like, somehow secured down?
Yeah, so we would lock them to the rack
Okay,
and lock them to each other.
alright,
Yeah, so it's what, Denise actually went down to, Emerald, and I think they lock them together down there. They don't even
Yes.
lock them to anything, but they lock the boats together at night.
Okay.
So you'd have to steal like 20 boats, you know, which would be hard. And I think we just try it with a few boats at first and see how it
Okay.
goes, but assuming between the camera and the locks, hopefully they would be secure.
secure.
So yeah, so we were proposing to buy, we do have a fair amount of money left over in our budget that we haven't spent yet. There's, you know, there's maintenance funding, and then there's also like supplies, and there's youth sports and rec programs, and so, you know, there's plenty of money to buy some things.
Okay.
So we were hoping for the aluminum rack that we would move inside in the winter and store the boats organized, so it wouldn't just be a garage full of boats. 2 stand-up paddle boards, nets for behind the soccer goals, because we got the soccer goals with donated funds last year, but you know, if you kick the ball over the net, one way it goes in the river. If you kick the ball over the net, the other way it goes in the road. So we were proposing to buy like tall nets so that, you know, that's just a little more user-friendly, so kids aren't losing $20 balls. And then Sandra had the idea of an outdoor ping pong table, which I think could be really fun for the kids as something different, and even having it down at the lake during camp, having kids who like don't want to be outside swimming, like playing ping pong. Do you want to say anything else about that?
No.
Just
you said
another
it very
option.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, come on, ping pong is fun. We could
Yes.
buy a couple paddles and some ping pong balls. That would be really easy to set up, move around, back in the building as necessary.
Yeah, so those are things that we wanted to buy. Come Alive Outside also offered to give us funding to pay for people to go kayaking, and this year just to go swimming again, so like paying the entrance fee and, yeah, so again, they could just keep track of who's coming.
Are they bringing their kayaks?
I don't know, I wanted to talk to them about that because I think they probably do,
Okay.
which is fine, and I told them that we were gonna try to store them outside.
Yes.
So I think this rack, I think would fit like 2 larger kayaks, 2 regular sized kayaks, and 2 stand-up paddleboards. And I'd like to keep it at that, like just
Okay.
keep it simple,
Yes.
because that's a lot of boats for a little lake,
Yeah.
right? That's plenty. And I think there's like a decrepit old kayak that has a sign on it that says that it's broken in the garage, and so
Oh.
if we can have permission to just sell like whatever,
Yeah.
like work with Sandy to just get rid of, like I would just want to clean it all out and have it organized and,
So are we good
Minimal.
with that? With the
Yeah.
rec selling off equipment they're not using
Yeah,
anymore?
yeah.
Yeah.
How does it work when they pay the entrance fees? Just come alive outside?
yeah, so they gave us a budget last year, we didn't even come near it, I think they offered us like $2,000 to like, last year it was a little more complicated, we're gonna try to simplify it. Last year, people had to go online and like,
Yeah.
get a ticket, and then they had to show the ticket when they came in, and then the staff just kept track, they had like a tally,
Yeah.
where they kept track of who came in with a ticket. This year, what we talked about, Arwen Turner, do you know her? She's the executive director. She lives in Wallingford, she's the executive director of Come Alive Outside. And she wanted people just to be able to bring their passport, so Come Alive Outside puts together these passport things, or you can print it out on the webpage and just have, the staff just have like a stamp, so instead of people having to like get a ticket or whatever, just have people like, you know, have something stamped, or, I don't know, just try to find it a simple way, so
Yeah.
it's not an obstacle for people, because we want people to come and use the boats and swim for free. It's not for free, I mean, Come Alive Outside's paying for it.
Right.
But if anybody has ideas for like how to simplify that process.
So it's like a one-time, you know, if you come one time free to swim or one time free to use the paddle boats
Okay.
or kayaks.
Okay.
Yeah, so they get funding, you know, they have all kinds of grants to like get people outside.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they give us money to get people outside.
Right.
So they pay for the people to come in and then, yeah.
Shannon, would they include that in those little like booklets that they give the kids?
Yeah, that's a passport.
So they give the kids at the schools like this little booklet that's full of activities, and then once they do so many activities, they can go to 1 or 2 stores and like collect a little prize.
Yeah, there's adult ones
It's really a
too.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great program. I
Yes.
mean, it's
It
really,
is.
we're lucky to have them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, we didn't apply for the grant, as you all know, for the facility improvements at the lake, because the funding was
No.
not gonna be there.
Yeah.
So, but we do have money left over from last year, there's a fair amount of money left over in our maintenance, as well as the, you know, 2 different salary buckets that I'd have to talk to Sandy and Julie and see how much is gonna be used before the end of the year this year, but there's so much that I doubt, you know, it's gonna be touched, so we were wondering if we could get started on a few of the like discrete projects to start upgrading the building with like leftover funds from last year. And one of the first things I wanted to do was hire a plumber to look at that bathroom in the garage and just see what's wrong with it and give us an estimate.
Get an estimate?
And then maybe like cut a new window, and this is all like, we don't even know if we can get contractors to do anything, because they're all busy, but we could at least try.
Yes.
To get somebody to come look at a few discrete projects that are within our budget, so that we could start plugging away on trying to improve that building.
Mhm.
So,
Are we good with that?
Yeah. Good idea.
so can we just hire a plumber to come look at it? I mean, I think if we spend over 500, we're supposed to get a competitive bid, but I'm wondering like, I feel like that sometimes just like slows things down. Like if we find somebody, can we just have them fix it up if it's under like $2,000, or like as long as it's within budget, or
I think,
This is for the toilet?
I can come back too if we
do
find
we
somebody,
need to
but.
follow though our,
Huh?
do we need to follow our policy?
Which, no. Well,
No?
well, yeah, but I don't think it's gonna be $500 to fix the toilet.
Well, we don't know what's wrong with it.
Huh?
I don't know what's wrong with it. I mean, we've spent $2,000 on plumbing down there.
Yeah.
So under 1,500, you can endeavor to find a reasonable price.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandy.
1,500 to 5,000, you need to solicit 2, preferably 3 written bids.
Okay, because there was one plumber that offered to do the plumbing down at the park for free.
Right.
And I think he's like really willing to help on like community things.
Yes.
So I was just thinking about calling them and
Well, I would
seeing.
say reach out to them first.
They might be willing to squeeze us in just because they seem like they really want to get back to the community.
Yeah. I would definitely investigate that first.
Yeah, okay. But you guys are okay with like trying to fix the bathroom and
Yes.
trying to plug away on maybe some other things?
Yes.
Are you okay with cutting a hole in the front of the building? Because, you know, there's, so that, well, here's the idea is, you know, this was part of the design was that, because right now you can't
No.
see the water and see the grass at the same time.
Exactly.
So like moving kind of the concession area over so that people could, so that people could sit in one place and see, but then they come around the other way, and so, you know, there's a traffic flow that would have to ultimately at some point be coordinated with like moving the concessions, the traffic flow would have to go to the left instead of going to the right.
Yes.
But without having a lifeguard there, they need the visibility more of the beach.
Well, I'm thinking it could
makes
just be an
sense.
additional, I mean, even if they sit where they sit
Yeah.
now, it would still be like as they're moving around.
Something that was opening this out just makes it so they can see
Right.
Yes.
easier.
Yep.
And and moving things around in there too, like, we're planning to have a work day down at Elfin, May 17th, I think, or 18th. And I was thinking about seeing if we could move the stuff around, I don't know, if you're probably not available, but maybe we could do it sometime during the week, go down there and look around, because I think there's like, the freezers like in front of one of the windows, so maybe we can reconfigure things so that you could actually open up the windows.
But more visibility, I think, would be better in many different situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, cutting the hole is probably easy. It's the like building a secure wooden
Yes.
door that can be closed, I think would be the more
The tricky
complicated
part.
part. So we can see if we can find somebody
Okay.
and get a quote, and I can come back if we find somebody who can do it and talk about more, and I can meet with Sandy down there and make sure we all are on the same page about
Sounds good.
what it's gonna look like.
Yeah.
All right. I think that might be it. Is that it?
Signage?
Oh, signage. You want to talk about signage?
Oh, yes, signage.
I think Sandy printed out, I went down to the park and took photos of all the signs that I could see.
And this is all in one rec park.
Yes, these are all in one rec park. Some of them are spray painted, some of them are missing letters. And what we would like to do is consolidate the signs to one sign that is whatever is necessary for insurance purposes or legal purposes, and one sign, perhaps from someone in the community who's artistic, that really just says, "Welcome to Meadow Street Park, please be respectful, have fun, be safe," you know, something.
It's very
Something
similar
that's just very,
to what happened up at Elfin Lake.
Exactly. That's what I was telling her about. And I took a picture of it yesterday when I was there, because I was like,
It's all on one side.
it is
It's
so
done-
nice.
It's, yes. So I am all for this.
We just don't know like how much it's gonna cost, so we'll come back once we have a plan, but I have some people in mind who I know do like amazing graphic
There are
design
some
work,
people
who I think might
around.
be willing to donate or do
Yes,
it, you
might be
know, for
willing
low
to help
cost.
out, yes.
The one thing I would like to, I was thinking about doing a separate sign for, and I was looking online, is like those like camera signs. I was thinking if we could consolidate everything to like one sign, and the one sign that's different might be like, you know, 24-hour surveillance, just because that's the one thing I would like people to see.
Right.
Especially like at the lake, so that like if we declutter all of it, and then we just have like, here's all the rules, and then like, oh, by the way, there's a camera, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just to make sure people see that. Because I feel like right now there's so many signs you
It could
can't
be on the
see.
sign, I think. It could be right part of the message. Do all these things, we're watching you.
You're on candid camera.
Smile, you're on camera.
Yeah.
So just to let you know, just on the basketball court, skateboard ramp, and tennis court, those were VLCT recommendations, to have them right at each thing.
Okay.
And even when Wade Masur came down, he wanted additional signs over by the playground equipment and all that, but, I mean, they wanted it where the people were using those things to have those signs there.
Okay.
So I don't know, I can't remember if there's some on the basketball court and the exact same thing on the building. I mean, those can be, like, maybe the one
Okay.
on the building could come down.
Okay, well, we'll
Yeah,
do.
so they, just,
Okay.
yeah, you could certainly reduce them, so. I
Okay.
think there's multiple that say, like, dawn to dusk and things like that, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is that, was the LCT thinking that's because of liability? Is that?
Yes,
Yeah.
they wanted the signs for each, area to have its specific, and, you know, use at your own risk type of thing.
But some of it just seems very unfriendly and unwelcoming. You know, telling you what shoes you can and can't wear on the basketball court. I mean, to me, I just think this is a public park for kids to play in.
So maybe,
So even that, I hear what you're saying. Can even those signs be reduced down? Like, does it have to say you can wear this shoe, or, you know what I mean?
Right, maybe like word it in a different way. So that's what happened
Yeah, word it in a
at Elfin
different
Lake,
way.
was like, I think it was one sign, but it was like very negative. It was like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And some nice citizen took it upon themselves to not only make it aesthetically pleasing, but kind of reword it in a way that was like more welcoming. And so I wonder if
Yes.
we can,
Because
if we
I
can reach out to the same person.
Exactly.
I know that for certain activities like dancing, they would have like a poster or whatever, and they would say, please, or they would write soft-soled shoes only. So I think there's a way to word things that are more positive than.
Right, exactly, yeah. Thank you.
So would we have to propose something, then run it by VLCT to see if they're okay with it? Like, is it that kind of structure?
I mean, you can just take their recommendations for it, you
Yeah.
know, that when they come out and inspect the areas, they'll
And
give
if
us
you
a
have,
list
like-
of recommendations, and then, you know, going forward,
Like
if
rules
there's.
of use, like
things-
So it's,
tennis court, use policy or something, and then if you need to have the sign there, but just maybe streamline it a little bit, make it
Right.
a little more positive. Because it sounds like if VLCT is recommending it, it's in our interest to
Yeah.
follow those recommendations, but I think there's a way that you can
Right.
streamline and
Yeah.
put more positive language in.
Yeah.
Unless they said specifically that we have to have all those points, I think some of them could definitely
Could go,
not be
yeah.
Right,
like the shoes.
exactly.
Yeah, and since you just mentioned policy too, I forgot to mention that I drafted
Yes.
I drafted that facility use policy and facility application, just so that like, I don't know, it seems like more and more people are wanting to use our facilities, and it's gotten a little confusing,
Did everyone get a chance to look at the form?
so.
I
mean,
thought this form was really, well organized and, helped streamline the process of being able to use.
Yeah, because some groups come to us and they're really upfront, other groups just schedule things and don't tell us, and, you know, just, if we have it out there, then we can refer back to,
Exactly.
this is our policy, everybody has the same policy, there's nothing special for you, there's nothing special for you, we treat everybody the same.
And that way there's no confusion
There's been a lot of
or
confusion,
conflicts.
yeah.
I think this will help reduce that.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, it's too late for this year, I think,
Right.
but it'd be great going forward for next
Is
year.
everyone good with this form that Shannon came up with?
Okay.
Well, you don't
And we
know
could
what
make it
to
an
do.
online form so that people can just fill it out online and it would be submitted to Sandy,
Right, okay.
a Google form.
I love Google Forms.
Me too. I love Google products.
Is that,
That's it.
okay?
Thank you.
Good
Do you have any
work.
other questions?
So you said yes on their website or webpage?
Oh, yeah, the website, is that okay? I just want to make sure.
yeah, and I looked at it, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess, you
So
did
would
reach
we
out
just
to-
put a link on our page to
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
And who's gonna maintain it on your side?
I mean, I'll do it.
Okay.
For now.
All right.
But, you know, or we could have Justin just embed the calendar on your website, but I don't know, I just think it's kind of nice for us to have something to update
Okay.
and have a
Yeah.
feedback form, but,
Yeah, this, Thank you.
It's mostly just for the calendar, because we wanted it all to be public, so that everybody knows who's using the fields when and who's scheduled.
Thank you, Recreation Committee and Shannon, for all your hard work.
So that'll be very similar to what the high school already, with the Booster Club link. You're embedded, so.
The calendar is
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're mimicking something that the schools are already doing.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay,
All right.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
For me?
We are on Wallingford Day. And we are talking Bouncy House and the closing of Meadow Street. Now, if we wanted to talk about Meadow Street first, I think in the past we've done this, where we've closed it to traffic or people parking down there.
We may have limited it.
Because I remember that
Yeah.
we've done something like that in the past, and there were
It's
cones
been a
up.
while, but yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I'm trying, because I remember which activity it was. But it was like only for those, we let people park down there with, that was hard for them to walk. I'm trying to think of what it was.
Yes. Was it for the,
All I can think was the fireworks.
well, it was for the
That we had that
fireworks.
Labor Day weekend.
The street was shut down
Yeah.
because we didn't want 1,000 people parking right there for the
Yeah, 'cause we had the
fireworks.
food trucks in there,
Yes,
but we did allow the limited,
handicap parking,
I think, yeah, it was that.
yeah.
So what our original plan was for safety wise to shut it down, because after the fireworks, there's so many kids and everything, and I'm just so afraid someone's gonna get hit by a car or something like that. And also because when I went to the fire station last year to get the firework permit signed, they said that they would not be down there because they can't get a truck down there to turn around. So I feel like it's a safety hazard for that too, so that if something happened with the fireworks, they can't get down there. So we would our thought is to have someone man the end of the road where people who have handicap problems can still get down there, or any of the vendors can still get down there, or the people that live on that road.
It doesn't seem like there's really any downside to that.
And do we need to, we can just let them sort of like,
Yeah, and Heather said that they would notify all the residents of the plan.
okay. Great.
In Wallingford Rescue and obviously
Right.
the fire department.
Yes.
So shall we talk, if we're good with Meadow Street, shall we talk Bouncy House?
Real quick with the Meadow Street, is it
Okay.
okay to put up signs a week ahead of time, like giving that heads up to people that that's what's gonna happen? Do we have permission to put up signs the week before to let people know that that road will be closed?
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's an excellent idea because then people are informed and they can plan for it.
Yeah, it's just like a scheduled work in a road.
Right,
If
scheduled
you let
work
them
in
know
a
ahead
road.
of time, they're not so mad at you when you got the
Yeah.
road.
Exactly.
You could send, in June, send an item to Julie for the July newsletter too, and she'll put something in
That's an
there.
excellent idea.
And then Front Porch Forum, maybe the
Yep, front
Facebook
porch forum.
page.
Yep,
Yeah.
Okay.
yep.
Yours and our Facebook pages.
So now the Bouncy House.
So for the Bouncy House, I know there was some concern with the,
BLCT.
yeah.
Yes.
And so they wanted to run it by you before we proceed on it, to get your guys' opinion on if you think a bouncy house would be a good idea down there for Wallingford Day or not. And one idea we did come up with, in case if insurance purposes do not go well with it, is to have people sign a waiver before they let their kids go into the bouncy house too.
Because the Bouncy House company has their own insurance.
Yes, they do.
Okay. I think the biggest worry with the bouncy house, and I think this is VLCT's concern, is that you get a good gust of wind, and you've got a huge problem on your hands. I know I'm a little concerned about that with the bouncy house and having it go awry and then not being able to control that situation. So I'm not so sure I'm crazy about a bouncy house for that reason. I don't know what other people think.
I mean, if it was a really gusty day, could we just say like not available because of potential for a wind problem?
I just know it seems like our weather's getting windier and windier, and we're actually going to a track meet tomorrow, where last year at this exact track meet, one of those tents, it was pulled out of the ground. I almost saw people getting impaled. We were all trying to grab and get this tent to get down. So I'm just a little concerned about that.
Aren't they anchored down though?
What?
Aren't a lot of those bouncy houses anchored down?
Are they
Oh,
anchored?
yeah.
Are they anchored very well?
I think they have the big steel pins just like tents.
Yeah.
I think those are anchored pretty well.
Most bouncy houses these days do have a lot of weighted to them.
Okay.
And they're attached to a big blower. It's not, the ones you normally see are the household ones that people's bought $80 that doesn't have all the
They're not.
So this is gonna be from a bouncy house company.
It's a company called
that-
Whirly's World.
And if
Okay.
it makes you feel more comfortable as well, they apparently have attendants that will be at each bouncy house. They
Okay.
don't just set them up and walk away.
Okay.
So someone from the company is actually there manning.
I think that industry records will show that there are a huge number of injuries sustained in bouncy houses, so there is a liability factor. Even an attendant can't control one kid getting kind of wild if there's a bunch of little toddlers jumping up and down in there and the bigger kid starts coming off the walls. I think it's a huge risk. It's liability waivers have not worked for ski areas. People sustain injuries at ski mountains, sue, they've signed a waiver, and courts and juries agree with them and give them awards. So it's risky.
If there's something that we could do, like one bouncy house would only be for this age group, and then the next bouncy house only for an older set, and then another bouncy house for adults, would that
I think
help with
they
that?
talked about that.
Yeah.
Most of them are by weight.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yes.
think it is supposed
Yeah.
to be.
It's by height and weight.
Separate.
by height and weight, yeah.
I know getting insurance, liability insurance, to have a bouncy house is not easy. So the fact that this guy has it,
Yes.
provides it,
And just hearing that it would be different than your run-of-the-mill, set up in your backyard, $80 bouncy house, that this has like a fan built into it and it's really weighted down and everything, and that you have attendance with it, that does make me feel a little bit better about it.
I just think also like an injury that would result in like a really massive liability case, that would have to be pretty rare. I happened to look at it before I came over here, and there was this child safety research thing that said that 96.4% of the injuries were just something that you're sort of in and out of a doctor's office.
Concussions.
Sprains.
Concussion or sprain, yeah. But I mean, if you, I don't know, I'm trying to think this through, like if someone were then to sue the bouncy house company or, and get the town involved, it seems like it wouldn't be huge amounts, so it wouldn't, like, it seems like the liability risk is not like massive, like, it's not, it would be really unusual for someone to have the kind of injury that would result in a big lawsuit.
I wonder, because I don't think we've had bouncy houses before, correct?
I don't think so.
What if we did something, what if we just did one, maybe for the youngest set, or for the least weight?
3 and under.
Yes, shortest height, see how that goes. And then if it's successful, we could talk about bouncy houses for more types of people, but it's just something that we haven't done before, so I don't know what other people think of that idea.
I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, the attendants are gonna know what the maximum amount you can have in there to be somewhat safe. 'Cause
Exactly.
It's the issue normally is if there's too many in there and they're bouncing too close to each other and how they're jumping. I work about.
Is that too much expense on your end with, I think if you went for that youngest age level, that you would get, you still have a lot of people who want to be involved with it, and it might be just a little more controllable, and we could use it as like a test, that we did a bouncy house, we did it for the youngest, it went really, really well, or we came up on these issues or whatever, but it's just like, instead of going like out with a whole bunch of them and never having done it before, we can see how that goes.
And you're more likely to have the parent to stay with it, because that might
Exactly.
be a requirement, because if middle-aged, a little older, they're gonna be running around all by themselves.
My only concern with that is the number of children that are like, say, 6 to 15, who will approach this bouncy house in the hopes of being part of it and be turned away, and it will just become a bit of a downer. Like it will turn them off.
I think there's something to being saying, keep them wanting more. Where you do it and you advertise that we haven't done this before or whatever, just that, here's a bouncy house, we're doing it for this, and then people say, oh, I wish there was, and then, oh, next year, we'll have this. If you keep them sort of enticed, they might actually not be so turned off and more like, well, they didn't have it this year, but you can suggest for next year.
It's still dangerous. It's still dangerous. And that's what bothers me.
Okay.
There's a place on the Cape, actually I brought my grandkids there a bunch of years ago, that's basically all bouncy houses. It's in Yarmouthport. And they've got some pretty fancy stuff with zip lining and all kinds of. I totally agree with you. I mean, I understand injury. Injuries can happen.
You can walk down the street.
Right, do it, but, whatever. I mean,
Rutland's is actually doing some big bouncy house.
And it's
They do regularly.
They have.
What have they done?
Rutland has done that.
They closed downtown and they put different bounce houses on.
Yes.
I think they're doing something at the rec center. Like
What
this.
happened?
I was gonna
But
really-
Rutland goes ahead and puts big bouncy houses around downtown.
A number
They
of
did?
times
Yes.
during the
Oh,
summer.
when they're
Yeah,
having
during the
their.
summer. During their summer fest.
Okay, I've
Yeah,
never,
and when they
never
do the
seen
green-
that. See, I've never
they-
even seen a bouncy house.
Oh, and then they close down and they put they do it after the run. They close and they put, it's like grass, they put grass down and they put bounces house. They do it during Friday Night Lives.
Yeah, Friday Night
I
Live,
don't know.
bouncy houses.
I don't know that much about it. My feeling is that a lot of the injuries probably happen in times when you don't have like an optimal setup. You have just someone renting one for their backyard or something like that. And if you have something that's like with a legit company with an attendant and some rules around it, you probably don't have as many injuries. I'm a little more relaxed about it.
things can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're really careless, but if it's a legitimate company that has
I've
their
heard
own
good things about this
liability
company.
insurance. Pardon me?
Okay.
I said, I've heard good things about this.
And they're actually the ones that are gonna be doing the rec bouncy house thing in Rutland.
Oh, they're the same
Yeah.
company.
Oh, there's the
Same
same company, okay. So what is our,
I mean,
what would you like
what
to do?
what are you
Yeah, what do you
asking for?
suggest?
What would be your ideal thing?
Our ideal thing is to not get kids upset though either. So turning away kids for a certain age, I know I personally couldn't do that, but if it's an attendant, it might be a different thing.
What about a bouncy house for the kids, but not one for the adults, at least not this year?
Do you want two bouncy houses, one for young age and one for
Medium.
like 6 to 15 or whatever?
Yes. Yeah, yes,
And then one for 3 and under or something like
I
that?
think it's a really good idea to separate them like that.
yes. I think separating them out is
So
a
3
good
and
idea.
under in one, and then like 4 to, how old should we go?
Sometimes they cap them at noon. At 12.
All right,
Like,
so 4 to
before they
12.
get, what is that company's roles?
Right.
What did they offer you? Because it all
Yes.
depends on the structure of the bounce house, what they allow in there. And then it's how many they
Yeah.
allow in there, because sometimes there's
Right.
only 2.
Yeah. 15, I don't know, 15 years old just sounds like
Oh, they,
big and old, like, could be a big
but
kid.
you can
for-
get a 10, 12-year-old that's bigger than a 16-year-old,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's not just age.
Yeah, I suppose like.
It's more weight and height than it
Yeah.
is age.
Yeah, but how do you draw the line?
Exactly.
Can't weigh kids.
No.
I'm just really worried about bouncy houses. I think, I've been at the July 4th fireworks, and there's a pack of good kids wired, tearing around, unsupervised, but they're not gonna bounce off anything and collide with another kid's head. When you introduce bouncy houses, it sort of brings out this adrenaline in children that can have very serious consequences.
So I think we're sort of either leaning for bouncy houses. That would be under your purview with the company to be offered, or no bouncy houses. So I think we need a motion.
Right.
I make a motion, that we have bouncy houses at Wallingford Day this summer.
I'll second that.
Okay.
With any age?
At the discretion of Wallingford Day and the, company
Vendor, yeah.
and the vendor.
They're gonna know more than
But
us.
with releases.
Yes, with releases. So that's the motion that's been seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. I'll take it to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Abstain.
Okay.
I don't know enough. I don't know.
Okay, so
We'll take you on.
it has
I'll let you
passed,
decide it.
and you've heard there are some concerns, so,
We'll address those.
okay. Well, thank you.
So we'll need a certificate of insurance from, with the town of Wallingford named as additional insured.
Okay.
And are you gonna draft, or do they have a release that they can present to us for the select board to look at?
I will see about that, and if not, then the Wallingford Day Committee will make one.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
So you want a release from each
Yes.
child, parent signing it?
Yeah, like a
Yes.
waiver form.
Yes, yep,
Okay.
yep. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to pet waste dispensers.
There again.
Are you all done?
No?
Be here for this one.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Pet waste
All right,
dispensers.
that's me again. So the Wallingford Rotaract Club, which I am president of, wants to put up pet waste dispensers around town at the cost that we, as the Rotaract members, would pay for the dispensers ourselves. And we wanted to put them in 4 locations. So one being at the Rotary Building, and then one at the rec field near the parking lot somewhere, and one on the other side, either by the Green Bridge, on the other side of the Green Bridge where they walk across, or at the head of Stone Meadow Trail right there. And then one over at Elfin Lake by the parking lot there. And we are planning on buying compostable bags too, so they're biodegradable. And we weren't thinking about any kind of waste bag to go with them, because then it's more of a maintenance thing, and we don't know where we would dump them after they were filled, so it should be up to the owner to take care of their own poop bags. But if it got to be an issue, we would see if we needed to put up trash bags with them or some sort of bin, and then we'd take care of that at that point in time, but we try to do it without it, and hopefully the owners of pets would take care of it. But
I love this idea, walking around town. It's a real issue.
Especially down at the rec field.
Yeah.
And actually on all the sidewalks around Main Street and School Street and everything. And I'm really glad that Rotaract is doing something to help address this problem.
And we would maintain the poop bags and refill them whenever they are out too.
So we think that the people who are causing the problem in the first place will now use the bags? Is that?
I'm thinking that if they have bags available for them to use, that they would go ahead and use them. I think the thing is that they just leave, they don't bring any bags with them, and then they don't address the problem. I think, what do you think?
I'm thinking the chances of the dog going anywhere near where these bags are slim. Because nobody's gonna walk to go get them. And then you're gonna have the people that do use them. Because I think we had this issue before, when this was tried one other time, people would just then leave their bags there, which is almost worse than having just the poop that would get washed away by the water. I love the concept, I'm just wondering the actual work of it might not get what's intended.
Should we let them
You
try
mentioned
this?
that one would be near the Green Bridge. Do you mean the brown pedestrian bridge that's?
Yeah, the brown pedestrian bridge that goes from the Waldo Lane to the rec field.
Yeah, that's.
Yes.
That's a good location.
I mean, hopefully when people set out with their dog, they'll be like, oh, I forgot a bag, and grab a bag. You know?
I think it maybe in a smaller scope to try it out at a more place where people are more, like at the rec center or something, where people are more likely to just be in a more, not just walking around.
Yeah, I mean,
I just need to see who invest all this. Yeah, we got the
Just
dog
dealing
right
with it
here.
every day, it's nice to have the bags available, but you're gonna find if you don't put a trash bin right next to it and maintain those as well, it was already mentioned, people are gonna throw them wherever they can, and they won't take them with them.
Alright.
It's unfortunate, but I see that way too often.
So maybe if you had one at the park, because there was a trash can at the park.
And there's one at the, a trash can at the trail too.
There
Meadow
is,
Trail.
so maybe
I mean, I know there's-
one there at the trail and one, sorry,
Yeah.
one there at the trail and one there at the rec park might be a way to start.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's already, sometimes the trash cans already get complained about being overflow, because
I mean, we can put trash cans with them, because
then who's gonna pick them up and clean them?
that's the thing is, we have to figure that out as a rec, or a Rotaract members
Okay.
to figure out who would want to be responsible for that,
Yeah,
and to figure out where they would take it to.
And that's a bigger thing, because you have more than
I don't
that
personally
trash.
live in town, so I don't feel like I should take it out of town either.
Right.
I mean, I think it's worth trying, I guess, like, if it doesn't work, you can always, like, let's say it didn't work, but.
Are we good with trying with bins at those two locations?
Well, what would be the policy for emptying the bins?
Not quite sure.
So we could have our Rotaract members frequently, I mean, most of us live right here in town or like 10 minutes away. I could personally, myself, because I'm in town all the time, just stop at the locations like once a week and just check. Or if it needs to be more than that, depending on the size of the bin.
I'm sorry, I would add in front of the Rotary building. I think that's good because lots of people walk their dogs up
Main Street,
up and down, and it's
Yes.
good for the Rotary to get the recognition that they put those out there.
And also it might be easier for other Rotaract members to take part in maintaining that one, since it's right there at the Rotary anyways.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. So they have three.
You know, put 3 on the town property, or the ball field, the lake,
Yes.
and the bridge.
Yeah, one on the trail, because there's a can there already, right? One on the rec field and one by the Rotary.
The one by the rec field, do you want that by like where it goes from the parking lot and inside of the fence, right where the trash can is there? Or where area would you like it there?
I would stick with the original 4.
The original 4?
It's a pilot, we hope it works, but the Brown pedestrian bridge is a strategic spot.
Yes.
Lots of people are coming over from Stone Meadow or going over
That's
to
true.
with the dog, and it's a good place to pick one up.
Then why, since we've already said 3, why not go with the 4 and do it as a pilot? Is everybody good with that?
I mean, the folks at the Rotary building, you've talked to them about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, you can't get permission for them because
Right.
it's not a town property, so.
Exactly, yes.
So you can give permission for the other 3.
So we'll give permission for the other 3 and then we'll let you handle the.
All right.
Okay. Great. Heather, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we are on to Animal Control Officer.
So if I touch base on something that needs to be tabled, tell me, I'll go into all that, okay? I have 2 specific complaints that I need direction on. One of them is a resident on Hotspur Road in Wallingford who has a neighbor with 2 dogs constantly at large. I've tried several times to approach and find that neighbor home unsuccessfully, with the exception of one time. This is about 2 weeks before registration time for dogs. His particular 2 dogs are chasing the neighbor into her house, acting viciously. She's afraid of them. She has 2 small Yorkies on her own. When I did finally find one person at the residence, this is Sean Johnson's residence, I was able to talk to, I think it was his son and grandson. He promised me they would be registered before time. To my knowledge, they're not even vaccinated for rabies. The one dog that's causing the most nuisance is a 15-year-old black lab. I don't see any viciousness out of it, but then again, I'm more confident around dogs. It could be that the fearfulness of the neighbor is causing this vicious reaction, I don't know. But the dog is 15 years old, is half blind. That's irrelevant from my standpoint. The fact is, he's leaving his property, constantly defecating on her lawn, chased her 10, 12-year-old son into the garage, growling at him. Did the same with his complainant's mother. I think a letter was sent to his residence. I haven't had no response as of yet, and I can't find him at home since. This complainant is Courtney Bates, is calling me every single time she sees a dog loose. So it's been as early as 6 in the morning, as late as 9 o'clock at night. I'm getting constant phone calls, what are you gonna do about it, what are you gonna do about it? I did touch base with her today and says, look, it's a slow ball, the way things progress, but it's on the agenda for the select board, which makes her very happy. But moving forward, I need more teeth, more direction, what the select board allows me and wants me to do with this particular complaint. On the same type complaint, I have another one right here, Paul Burrows. He's been complaining about his neighbor's dog, Nick DeLaurie. I spoke with Nick. This has been he's very cordial, polite, wants to work with us. However, this has been an ongoing tit-for-tat feud between those 2 neighbors, even before my time here as animal control. I tried to get hold of Tori, I believe she was the former animal control, no success reaching her, so I don't know any history at all. But talking with Nick DeLaurie, he says, yes, I get up at 4:45 every morning, first thing I do is let my 3 dogs out. If I hear him bark once, he'll come right over and let her right back in the house. When it's time for him to go to work at 6 a.m., his dad comes over and assumes responsibility for the dogs, and we're inside most of the day until they need to go outside. I have no reason to believe he's lying. He was very upfront with me. We talked in depth about it. He feels it's more of the tit for tat, if you will. He's also has seen this gentleman, Paul Burrows, I guess, intoxicated over the years, teasing his dogs, making them want to bark and growl and all this. I have no background, so I can't say yes or no to that. I do know that, from Nick's talking to him, I think he's on top of it. I don't know. But I did reach out and speak with a few other neighbors. No one else has a complaint except this gentleman, Paul Burrows. And he's the one with all the junk in front of his house. He sells things across the street from Shores all the time. So that's another way. I just need some input as to what you want me to do in that situation. I'm at a loss right now.
I read that we're gonna be getting a ticket book.
Well, that's what
we need to talk about.
We're talking about that.
That's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about. We don't have one. It's
we
the same book that the cops use.
I'm very aware of it, yeah.
And I had one for the tree ordinance years ago, never used it. But my suggestion is, you get a call, you go and you make an observation. And like down on Hartsburg Road, you observe dogs that are not registered and no proof of rabies. That's a violation. So for each dog.
That's correct.
Write them and you don't have to hand it to them. You could send a certified letter along with the ticket saying, I've observed your dogs and it's a violation and you're being cited, and shown the ordinance, and the thing is, if he doesn't pay it, you're gonna have to go to court on the day he's supposed to be there, otherwise they'll just let him go.
So we have tickets. We do have municipal tickets. We do issue municipal tickets. In fact, probably in one of the next meetings, we will be bringing because April 1st is the date that you're supposed to register dogs. We will be providing you with a list of pet owners who do not have registered dogs. What we usually do is send out a letter that says, now you are late. You'll have to pay the late fees. We're gonna give you till this date to pay your late fee and register your dog, or we'll issue a municipal ticket. And we do that every year. So we issue once you issue the ticket, it's out of your hands. It goes to Judicial Bureau.
Right.
And it's out of your hands. You can't collect. There's no other enforcement action for the town to take once the ticket is issued. And I can tell you, when we issue 20 or 30 tickets for unregistered dogs, I would be surprised if 20% of the tickets get paid. There is no teeth once the ticket's issued. Judicial Bureau, but if you didn't pay the first one, are you gonna pay the double fee? The Judicial Bureau will send them out warnings and then it goes into collections. But it goes into collections. It goes into collections. The Judicial Bureau handles it from there. Once Joe or I issue a ticket, it'll go into collection, Judicial Bureau handles it from there. We won't ever know unless they actually pay it and we'll get a little percentage of it. But it'll go into collections. And I mean, I spoke with Carol about this. We had a huge junk complaint on 103 several years ago. And we issued a number of municipal tickets in violation of our junk ordinance. It was probably 5 years or so before they finally ever paid them.
You paid them all?
I don't know.
5 years, you have to wait?
We don't get it all anyways. But I'm just saying to you, it's not a bad idea to issue tickets. I'm just saying it's not the solution to everything.
It's not gonna be a
Because if you're violating all these ordinances, if he's been at this house repeatedly, if a police officer came to my house and told me I did something wrong, I'd fix it.
Yeah.
But if somebody's been back over and over again, I don't know that they're going to be a $25 or $50 fine. Some people will, but some people won't either.
So I've also, I'm not sure if it's appropriate to talk about it yet, but I did change some verbiage, if you will. This is going to be a future date for the select board to review. But our fine fee is very outdated in comparison to our neighboring towns. $25, the Judicial Bureau came right up and told me they're not going to chase anybody down for $25. Our neighboring cities, Rutland, Bennington, whatever the case may be, I mean, they're versus $25 for a roaming dog, that's one offense. Vicious dog is a second offense. Defecating on property is another offense. Our neighboring towns have, our initial fine is $100, not 25. Second offense, a phone call, a second citation is 200 or 300. That's what our other neighbors are doing. Under that type of scenario, I think Judicial Bureau is more apt to follow through for their money when it's a ticket or citation of that amount versus 15 to 20 that we have in our minutes right now, or ordinance right now.
So our ordinance is no less than 50, no more than, or no less than 25, no more than 50 for the first offense. The second offense is no less than 50, but no more than 500.
I think
So the
it's
second
still
offense
very
could be
small.
$500. But I'm just,
Yeah,
a lot of these people who don't register their dogs, there's a reason in talking out a $500 fee.
But in
Is
that
it going
same
to-
ordinance gives the animal control person the right, if they don't pay, they
Right.
don't register, they don't, stop their dog from being at large, confiscate the dog.
But once we issue a ticket, the judiciary gets their copy of that ticket. By statute, they pursue it. They can't just say, oh, Clarendon or Wallingford only gets $25, we're not gonna bother it. They have to. They don't dismiss a ticket just because of the amount. They have to pursue it,
Yeah.
whether it's 25 or 500, they have to pursue it either way.
So what kind of teeth do we have besides issuing a ticket?
Under this ordinance, our own bylaws say I can confiscate the dog.
Have we ever done that?
We've never done that even for biting offenses. We've never confiscated a dog.
No.
I mean, we've,
Where does it say that?
because once you get to that point, then you're hiring attorneys.
I mean, that's not my best case scenario either, but it's an option versus a dog that's going to, like I say, chase a 10-year-old boy into his own garage because he's at large. That's one step more than just running around with a license.
I mean,
What you were
tickets,
saying,
tickets is
we're-
one tool. Tickets is one tool out of many things, but it's not the be-all and end-all. It's not gonna solve.
And we were talking about tickets for like licensing or rabies shots, that you also mean tickets for just like a roaming dog or a vicious dog, that also
Yeah.
falls into the same bucket.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, we issue the ticket and then it's out of our hands.
Absolutely. Once we issue a ticket, we give them the violator 2 copies. We send a copy to the Judicial Bureau. Once we send it off, we have nothing left to do with it. Nothing.
So is there,
There's no small claims court, there's no,
Well, we
nothing.
can't issue, if it's like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, issue another ticket if the same complaint comes in, correct?
but we have the capability now to issue the tickets? Or do we have
Yeah,
to-
they're updating, our municipal officer number to add, Joseph into it.
Okay.
But yeah, we have, I mean, I issued tickets last year for dog registration violations.
We could,
Since I've been here, I've only issued tickets for dog registration violations and junk ordinance violations, so.
we collected a dog violation, $75 in small claims court. Candela Flam went in there.
I know, but that was like 30 years ago.
Right.
Candy
so-
was here, I mean, Julie, it
So
was
it's
Candy,
different now?
Candy, Julie, the other one, and then me, so there's been 3 since Candy.
Yeah.
So,
So that wasn't
Sandy-
available? It's not available?
It used to be,
to
Rob,
be, but it's
small
not
claims,
anymore.
no, but they don't do that anymore.
Okay, so Sandy, it looks like, already the Bureau's been contacted about a municipal number 4.
Yep.
Mr. Elwell, what do we think about, having Mr. Elwell have a badge? VLCT says that it should clearly state animal control officer or dog warden. And then, I see Mr. Elwell has, said that he'd like to order one, and he's offered to pay for it himself. Or we could, as a town, own the badge, and then we would pay for that badge. Mr. Elwell, how much is a badge?
$200.
200.
is
200, okay.
Well,
price
the one he
between
found
different
was
companies.
200.
Okay.
How does badge help you do your job?
Only for identification purposes. Only for identification purposes.
Yeah. What do you need
It
a
doesn't
badge?
give
What do you
me
need
more
to do
teeth.
An ID card. Has anybody ever asked you, not believed you if you told them you were a dog warden?
Some have,
If some
you know,
have-
and all I had to show for it
I would
is
suggest,
I have a business card, that's the
I
only thing
would
I have.
suggest a picture ID.
That along with a badge actually is a
No,
visible
I
show
don't
of one
think-
teeth.
I'm not for the badge. I just don't think the dog warden needs a badge. Yeah. To do his job.
I think you have a very difficult job, and
Yes,
I
he does.
appreciate
Yeah.
knowing that you're out there doing this.
Yes.
I'd like to find ways to support you so you don't get into a situation like completely ignoring this.
Right.
I have no objections to a badge. It can,
Neither do I. I think it makes you look more official. And when we have that, let me just finish my thought.
I'm sorry.
If that's okay. If we have that appearance, sometimes just seeing that will cause someone to give a second thought and be a little bit more respectful, a little more subdued. And I think, you know, appearance, whether we like it or not, does matter. So I am not against a badge, and I'm also not against the town purchasing a badge. And that means that in the future, you'd be able to use it, but then for other people, we could use it in future cases as well, which would give us more value towards the purchase.
is there a way we can prevent this circular where you go out over and over again on the same kind of complaint?
Well, it's not the same complaint, but if it's the same type of complaint, if it's a violation and the same dog viciously chases somebody again, it should be another citation.
Yes.
And then another one. And VJB is going to follow up eventually when there's $1,500 worth of citations out there, I would think, than just letting it keep happening over. It's like the greasy wheel, as far as I'm concerned. If it's a continuous violation or a different violation each time, that's another citation.
On the chart of proposed fees, should you escalate, so I hate to get us into dog issues. It's one of the worst things select boards can deal with, but maybe if you are on your fourth or fifth citation on the same set of dogs, same owner, same location, same issues, maybe it should come here and we escalate it at that point.
Based on my list, it's only a suggestion, whatever's approved down the road by the select board. I do have, you know, it goes up for the first offense, second offense, third offense, fourth offense. After the fourth offense, which almost doubles the citation amount, then it will go to the select board as a complaint from me for you to figure out how you want to move forward.
Because we have dog hearings for bites.
Yeah.
So maybe you expand the reasons to have dog hearings.
Yeah, beyond bites, like chasing a kid into the garage.
Right.
Yeah, that's a borderline vicious dog, and it's
Yes.
something different that
Yeah.
falls under the purview of the select board.
Yeah.
You have the authority to do a lot of things that I write through your ordinance.
Are these fees and civil penalties, is this proposed or is this what we have in place?
Proposed.
Right,
Okay.
right now, they're like $25, or sometimes a little bit more, but I think we should have more bite in the ability to use
The
citations.
one thing is that once we make an ordinance amendment, we'll have to go through the process.
Of course.
I disagree with you about,
Yes.
that the badge is gonna help anything. It's already gonna be a tense, apprehensive situation for the person who's in violation, because that's probably the only thing in their life that makes them happy. And
Right.
there was instructions said, VCLT, it has to be clearly that it's animal control officer Wallingford, not, so people don't think of it as law enforcement. That's what it said. And they're gonna, whether it's clear on there or not, you know, I don't think it's necessary, and I just overkill.
Do we need to have a motion on this?
Well, if you're gonna disagree, yeah, we can't do it by consensus.
Right, so, do we have a motion for a badge?
Sure, so the motion would be to get is it the state that issues the badge?
No, it's a private company that we order it from, but it needs a letter from Sandy to authorize it. They won't just make a badge and give it to anybody.
Want to authorize an amount up to, Glenn, to spend on a badge, if the town's gonna buy it?
Yeah, it was up to 200, you said?
That's what they claim, yeah.
Does that include shipping?
I'm sorry?
Does that include shipping?
No.
So 225 maybe?
225.
At the most.
So the motion is to authorize requesting a badge up to the cost of $225 for animal control officer or dog warden?
Animal control officer.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Opposed.
Yep. I think the motion passes.
So this will come out of the line item, so expenses, so this will obviously at the end of the season be over, so.
Kathy, how do we move forward?
5410 is the number.
If we should talk about that now and see if we want to amend our ordinance fees, because if we do, then it goes through a process.
Can I just back up 1 second?
Yes.
Just about the tickets.
Yeah.
Should we wait until the registration period goes in that normal process, or should we go ahead or should we authorize?
It's a 4 to 6 week process to get a badge anyway.
Yeah,
It's not like they-
right, no, but I'm saying like for issuing a citation for a dog on the loose or a vicious dog, is that something we should look at doing now, or has it already been
Yeah,
done?
I mean, if you want,
I think once Mr. Elwell gets his municipal number, he can issue tickets.
right, so what you can do tonight is authorize Kathy to sign the letters to the Judicial Bureau.
Okay.
Approving, Joe to write tickets, myself, cause I already do, and I thought if you're gonna write tickets, just have the chair and the vice chair also for whatever reason. Just vote those four, and then Kathy can sign letters. I have them in case you
Okay.
decide to go that route. Kathy can sign them tonight. We'll get the process rolling, and they'll send us the tickets to write, and we'll be registered once they give us
Yeah.
that. Once we send the letters to them, they'll assign a number, a municipal officer number, send us tickets.
I mean, it seems like then we're taking some steps to support you.
Are we good with
Yes.
the tickets? With me signing that letter to allow us to
tickets.
issue tickets?
Tickets are good.
Okay. Then I think by consensus,
Right.
we're good on that.
One more item I'd like to bring up. Time is coming up fast, but Vermont statutes allow me as animal control officer and/or the fire department, if they need to be called as well, to take action when we see animals locked in a secured vehicle.
Yep.
I did have the only concern I have is I know what the law reads, it's on my side as animal control officer. The only question I have is I just want to have an overwhelming consensus from the board that yes, if I have to do such a thing and it appears that the animal's in any type of distress, should I call the fire department to be there to assist me? God forbid if I have to, as last resort, break the window and take the dog out of the car and then bring it to an.
I think you should call the sheriff.
Sheriff don't get involved, take
This
police don't get
happened,
involved.
this happened last summer.
Yes.
Right.
Somebody locked their dog in a van right at the end of Elfin Lake Road.
Yes.
I called the sheriff, they didn't have anybody to send down. So I said to him, what am I supposed to do? And he said, well, I can't tell you what to do. If it were me, I'd break the window. He said, but I can't tell you what to do. Luckily, I did find the owner that was on a hike through the woods. Made her go back and let the dog out, so, but that does come up.
It does, and frequently I've had a few phone calls, thankfully, by the time I got there, they were gone from the scene. But if I get there and I see a dog in distress, I want to know I have the backing of the select board to, uphold the statute, which is a state of Vermont statute, and do what has to be done. Or do you want me to call fire department to be a witness, let them break the window, or?
I'm good with you following the Vermont statute.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's all I want to know. Because
How do you know the dog is gonna die though?
you don't, it's not a matter of dying. Is the dog in distress in a locked vehicle that has windows down only this much?
Yeah. Did the dog look like it was in distress?
Well, there's a certain criteria that I follow before,
Yeah.
I don't walk up to a guy and just break the window.
No, but like it'd be panting, right?
It would be panting, nearly passed out, if you were just like a human would be.
I would take a picture.
That's always,
But I think that's responsibility is yours.
responsibility is mine.
Yeah.
But what if this owner comes back and
Yeah.
wants to sue the town, sue me? The statutes protect me from being sued, but I just want the town to know that that's the last resort that I'm gonna go to under certain circumstances. I only have the backing from the select board and the town. Should this individual come back and try to sue me, or they might try to sue you.
Yeah.
And the next thing to remember too, if I do have to break a window, you now have liability of an unsecured vehicle. The statute says the town does have the ability to give me authority to call a wreck if needed, to make sure that vehicle stays secured if I leave the scene, taking the dog elsewhere. These are all things to think about, and sometimes I have to think like that on the fly and care for the dog first.
Where do you take the dog?
Humane Society, if there's signs of physical distress, I'll take them first right to a local veterinarian.
Okay, just asking.
And from there to the Humane Society.
Yeah, do it.
I guess breaking
Take
the
photos.
window would be a last resort.
Yeah.
Of course. Be a last resort.
You take photos if you can.
Always take one, yes.
Okay.
That's,
Hopefully you'll never be in that situation.
I don't wanna be, but there's more complaints than you think. That goes out there.
I appreciate your research to try to bring the fee schedule up to date.
We'll talk at this at a future meeting.
Okay, I really don't want it to get lost.
Okay.
What we can do is, I can contact a few other towns who've updated maybe their animal control ordinance in the last year or two. See, maybe have some new language that we're not even thinking about. Compare fee schedules, but also just other items in language
That would be
that we
great.
might not be thinking about.
I've done the research from several different towns, and I'll give this to you, Cindy, to review. In the yellow sections on this are my suggestions that should be addressed based on surrounding towns and verbiage they have as well. It's a starting point anyway.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, we are moving on. And for the following item, do you have your little list in front of you? Okay, this is summer rec program hire. I'm gonna be recusing myself from this discussion.
Thanks, Joe.
Take care.
Thanks.
But as you can see here, there are 3 applicants for the camp counselor position for the 4-week summer recreation program. Benjamin Luzader, Kira Kroll, and Riley Roundy. This requires a lifeguard certification, which is reimbursed by the town at the end of the summer. It's around $300. There's a course in early June through Rutland Rec. Each of them know they would need a certification. What would you like to do? And I can see that Benjamin Luzader has shown up to answer whatever questions. I'm pretty sure that is Benjamin Luzader. I am recusing myself. I'm going to, I'll be back, but.
Okay.
Are the other candidates coming?
No. I reminded, one of them's out of state. She's out in Washington. And I reminded the other, Riley, and
So how do we wanna,
I was just curious, the out-of-state candidate, how does someone like, does she come up here in the summer normally, or?
I don't know. I think she has connections to Mount Holly.
Her residence is Mount Holly, but she goes to a private school.
Oh, okay.
boarding
Okay.
school.
So she would be back here in the summers anyway?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and she has one of the other camp counselors.
Okay.
Who lives in the same town.
But she hasn't worked at Elfin Lake before.
Benjamin, shift down a little bit so you're more lined up with us.
Sorry.
Thank you. Could you tell me previous experience working with elementary school age kids?
Yeah, so I was a junior camp counselor at the Elfin Lake camp two summers ago.
Yes.
When I was 13 or 14, and that was a volunteer job that I worked for 3 to 4 weeks with kids around the same age, 6 to 12, and I also have worked with kids at Theater in the Woods camp in Timoth. They're a little bit older, 12 to 16, but I've worked with kids from 6 to 12 to 12 to 16.
I'm sorry, I don't have the resume in front of you. You have your lifeguard certification, or are you going to get it?
No, I'm going to get it this summer, June 11th to June 14th.
You already signed up?
Yes, I'm signed up and yeah.
Thank you. Looking for it on my phone.
So at school, do you have any times where you help mentor?
Yeah, I help mentor some. I'm a part of a senior singing group, and I help mentor some younger underclassmen to help develop and mature their voices and like play the trombone and stuff. So yeah.
In the sports?
Yeah, and with cross country and track, I also do that as well, and help them run.
What attracted you to this position?
I've always loved to swim, and I think that lifeguarding would be a great opportunity and camp counseling to work with children, which is something that I love to do, and just to broaden my horizons in this category, I guess.
You got some dates here that you're not going to be available, it's just...
Yeah, that's, I'm also camp counseling at the Theater in the Woods camp as well this summer.
Okay.
The only conflicting date is June 22nd to June 27th.
Is that, in terms of summer camp, is that, what do we do in that situation? Do you just...
Make a motion.
No, but I'm saying just in general, something like that, when the camp counselors is not there, do we have a substitute? Like, how does that work?
I mean, you could ask one of the concession stand employees to fill in when he's not there. I mean, Carolyn's daughter's gonna be working, maybe she can fill in.
She works every other camp. Yeah, so I think that's what we did last year. There was it last year, the summer before, where
Yes.
some of the concession stands assisted.
Lori Roundy's son Max was a counselor last year.
Mhm.
He didn't apply for it this year. I'm assuming she's running the program. If she were short-staffed, she could bring Max in again.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously something we've dealt with before, right? Yeah, so.
Yeah. People get sick, people and have their wisdom teeth pulled out.
Oh, and I think it's as long as we have two.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Okay.
it's good to have the three there though, but at least we have two of them and one of them
Yeah.
being over 18.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay.
So I mean, Olive and Lori should always be available, and whoever you decide for the now, so that would be 3.
Okay.
At least 2 of them are there available each time.
4 people firing questions at you. Do you have any other, like Red Cross swim certifications?
No, I do not.
Have you taken swim class lessons anywhere?
Not to my knowledge. I don't remember doing any of that.
And have
He
you?
was very young when he took swim.
You said you love to swim, so you've obviously learned to swim.
Yes.
Have you swum from the Elfin Lake, the public beach, over to the Ferguson camp rest?
Yes, I have multiple times.
Have you done the triangle?
Yeah.
Great. How long ago?
It was last summer. I think I did it 3 times.
So that means you're a strong swimmer is what we're getting at.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a huge responsibility.
Yes, yeah.
And particularly difficult at a lake versus being a lifeguard at a pool. So you need to have good observation skills.
Yeah.
So we could hear a motion?
I don't have any other questions.
Huh?
I don't have any other questions, and we don't have anybody else here to ask about their.
So if you're done with Benjamin, he could leave.
Pardon?
If you don't have any more questions for Benjamin, he could leave.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Go home and go to bed, Benjamin.
Good night. Thanks, Benjamin.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sit mom back.
I think, no, wait.
I'm not gonna say anything, I think I can sit.
No, I
She can
think-
sit, she can be in there.
I can sit and listen, I will not.
Okay.
Right here.
Do we?
I think you can go into executive session.
I'm a little bit.
You can finish the rest of your,
Yeah.
agenda and then maybe go into executive session for,
Okay.
Okay.
and
Okay, you can take over now.
Okay. Moving on to liquor and tobacco license application. We have a tobacco license for Family Dollar, tobacco substitute endorsement, and liquor licenses for Cumberland Farms. An outside consumption permit, a first-class hotel liquor license, and a third-class hotel liquor license for Stonti Ltd. And we are looking these to see if we will approve them. Do we have a motion?
It's nothing new, right? Like
no, these are always
Yeah.
repetitive
Yes.
ones. You can do it by consensus unless somebody objects.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So are we all good with these?
Good.
Okay. They're passed. Moving on. Agenda building, is there an item or topic? I think we talked about, we want to put the, yeah.
Animal control.
Animal control. And then there was something else.
Budget, right?
Yeah, like a capital budget or
Yes.
for the,
Yes.
The truck,
yeah,
Talk about putting a line on for,
the next budget.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
sort of like a sinking fund idea.
right, right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's for a future agenda. Do we have any select board comments or concerns?
No, not from this one. Agenda building?
Oh, we just talked about that.
Oh, I did have an addition, sorry.
Okay.
I was aware we were discussing. I just would like to discuss the idea when it's the down season, not the crazy budget making season, to consider once a year holding one of our meetings in East Wallingford and South Wallingford. So you can mull it over until we fully discuss it at the next, it doesn't even have to be the next meeting, but soon.
Oh, well, those meetings around budget time to discuss budgets with those?
Well,
Are you thinking like an informational meeting or?
No, one of
a
our.
regular meeting?
A regular meeting. We
Okay,
go over there
perfect.
with our agenda and packet. Apparently, it's been done in the past. They've used the fire department station in East Wallingford, and I'm not sure if they use the Grange, which is no longer available, but perhaps the church down there would give us access or
For a meeting.
something. It's more to build community. I mean, you could speak to this, living in East Wallingford. People feel like they always have to travel down the hill to get to town hall for everything, and nobody pays any attention to them. And nobody ever plants trees where they are and so forth. So, I think it would be worth an experiment, see what the response is.
Well, we can put that on a future meeting, discuss it.
Yeah, not to be decided.
Have the meeting in East Wallingford?
Yeah.
Discuss
I
that
should
as
have a
an
meeting in
option.
South Wallingford.
Huh. It's on TV.
I think it's about community outreach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and we don't have to discuss this now, it's for a later meeting.
Right.
So
Where
thank you
would
for
we
the
have it though? Where would it be?
We can discuss that when we bring it up at the agenda meeting in the future. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
That's it. Executive session.
Yes.
Where are we?
Talking about going into executive session.
Okay, so we gave them their permits for liquor and tobacco.
Yes.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, where is that language? To go into, we have to say something. Do we have that language?
I think you can use the language just on the memo.
That's what I'm
Because it's the
looking
same reason.
It's okay.
Now it's carried.
You just add the word employee, municipal officer or employee.
It's the big one.
We're getting there.
I forgot all the tickets were at the end.
Yes.
I went too far.
Oh, where is it? Yeah, I think I have it right here.
You got it?
Let's see, yes. Okay, I make a motion to enter executive session for employee,
Personnel.
for personnel matter, as allowed under 1 VSA 313A3.
I second.
Second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, Lee.
Yep.